Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching first part of What If Naruto Was Banished and Fallen in Love with Suzuka. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no time, let's start the story.
Uzumaki Naruto, as of this day you are banished. If you are seen anywhere near the Fire Nation you will be executed. You have until the morning tomorrow to leave, said the Godem Hokage with tears pouring endlessly down her eyes. Naruto simply signed. Naruto thought, I guess I have to start packing. Not like you have anything to pack, just get some food and leave this ape village, a huge fox replied. Naruto told the fox, yeah, furball, I just want to go say bye to Gigi's grave and the Ichirakus. In Naruto's mind, the fox nodded and severed the connection. Naruto was walked to his apartment and looked at all the smiles the villagers were giving him. Naruto already knew that everyone in the village knew that he was being banished for what? For returning a traitor who was planning to have sex with a pedophile who was confused about gender. Naruto received 2 scrolls when he got home. One that contained a lot of ramen and the other that contained all the money he had saved as a child. He placed a kettle inside the scroll in case he needed hot water, and he placed both scrolls inside a smaller scroll. Naruto's inner fox palmed his face. Why'd I always end up with the dumb hosts? The fox complained. After obtaining the necessary items, Naruto proceeded to Ichiraku's, where he was treated to 100 bowls of complimentary ramen. Later, he visited the Sandame's grave, prayed, thanked his surrogate grandfather, and bid him farewell. Later, when he arrived, he was intoxicated and went to say goodbye to Iruka, who was crying. When Naruto arrived at the gate the following morning, he was met by enraged fangirls who were hurling trash and insulting him for harming their beloved Sasuke-kun. Isn't it obvious that the Uchiha is gay? To himself, Naruto questioned. You hairless apes are all stupid, makes no difference if one knows or not, the fox replied. Yes, Kyuubi, I understand you. Hello, did you also call me stupid? Naruto inquired. Kyuubi replied, yes I did. After that, Naruto departed without saying goodbye to any of his friends, primarily because all of his real friends were hospitalized as a result of what the supposedly last faithful Uchiha had done to them. Kyuubi said, so Kit, where do we go? Naruto retorted, I thought you said all hairless apes are stupid? Shut up. You are. I'm just saying, do you know any place that could help you not get killed when your former village comes back and tries to kill you? Kyuubi replied. Nope. Recall that I dozed off during geology class. Naruto remarked to Kyuubi he was being yelled at by Kyuubi for using a foolish, hairless ape as his host. Naruto was clutching his head in agony. What are you going to do, huh? They're going to send Hunter Nins after your HAILESS ass and we're going to die. Kyuubi yelled. Looking up at the sky, Naruto remarked, hey, I may not know where to go, but at least I know which direction I want to go in. Which direction is it? Kyuubi inquired as he observed the sun rising. Naruto remarked, east. Thinking his host was somewhat astute, Kyuubi remarked, towards the birth of the day, huh? I like it, at least it's a start. Naruto yelled, yeah, let's go Dadbayo. As he dashed southeast, he was unaware that he was being watched. Naruto's perspective. 2 months after being banished, I finally made it to Tokyo. I am in the middle of a park after 3 weeks of starvation. Sticks from nearby sticks were poking me. After that, a woman who lived nearby discovered me. I was envious since she had dragged me to her apartment, which was far better than the one I had before. Naruto inquired and learned that the woman's name was Ayano Fujikawa. She is a mother to a daughter named Miho, with the exception of the part about being the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Naruto had told her about his past. Throughout the story, Ayano sobbed and asked Naruto if he would like to live with them as her son. Surprised, Naruto was about to say no because he didn't want to be a burden, but Ayano's expression told him to say yes or else. They agreed because Naruto didn't want to know what the alternative was. Miho was at her cousin's house in Hiroshima and would not be returning for some time, but Ayano wanted Naruto to meet his new sister. The fundamentals of adjusting to his new surroundings had been covered by Ayano even after 2 weeks of learning how to operate a phone. Naruto unintentionally blew it up with chakra when someone spoke through it. Miho was delighted to be introduced to her new older brother after returning home. Even when they had to go to bed, she clung to him and wouldn't let go. To his dismay, Naruto was forced to attend school, but Ayano insisted that he must learn and make friends in order to avoid constantly purchasing new phones. Naruto had to attend junior high since he was 12 years old. People made fun of him when he introduced himself due to the color of his hair. However, one person approached him and expressed interest in becoming his friend. Lan Hikari was his name. I know Mega Man, but I played Mega Man, so yeah. Having a friend like Lan made Naruto happy after school. Lan took Naruto on a tour of the school and all the places he believed to be hip spots in Tokyo. Ayano had done everything in her power to make her adopted son's friend happy, and Naruto had invited Lan to his new home. Lan's mother followed Ayano's example by inviting Naruto to his home. As it happens, Lan's first friend was Naruto because of his shy personality. Lan was constantly the target of bullying. However, Naruto and Lan found pleasure in each other's companionship because Lan was the intelligent one. He assisted Naruto with his academics since Naruto was the better fit of the two. He trained Lan and taught him the fundamentals of swordplay and taijutsu. When Naruto returned to Tokyo a year later, he told Lan about his past, which strengthened their relationship. They were so close that they considered one another to be brothers. His relationship with Kyuubi strengthened along with his ties to his family and friends. Kyuubi began to relax and assist Naruto whenever he could after realizing that he would be confined to Naruto for the rest of his life. He mostly assists Naruto in cheating on exams, although he never expressed it. Kyuubi was pleased that Naruto thought of him as a friend. He had also received a Kekkei Genkei from Kyuubi at first. Naruto was perplexed and questioned why he did that. I didn't want my host to be weak. And HN were all he received. However, Naruto was aware that Kyuubi gave it to him out of concern for him and a desire to assist him with any future issues. Standard POV 2 years after being exiled. 2 years have passed since Naruto was exiled from Konoha, and his life has been far better than he could have ever dreamed. He had informed Ayano and Lan that on the day of his birth, Kyuubi was sealed inside of him. Yuka and Megumi, who lived in Ayano's women's dorm and public bathhouse, gave Naruto alcohol during their small party instead of throwing him out. Ayano objected, of course, but Naruto drank it to Yuka's dismay. Naruto never got wasted, and Kyuubi was to blame. Yuka had anticipated that Naruto would get wasted and do some embarrassing things. 1 week prior to Naruto starting high school, it was a rainy day. Naruto was carrying grocery bags as he passed the high school he planned to visit. Ka-san. Damn it. She treats me like a slave, but why? Furthermore, Yuka isn't any better at telling me to get her some alcohol. Me? A young adolescent purchasing alcohol with a hot dog in his mouth, Naruto thought. Good thing I bought it with my henge. Until his chakra-enhanced ears picked up the sound of someone running. Naruto dropped his hot dog from his mouth when he noticed something. When he looked to his left, a girl was seen leaping over a pole. Naruto's perspective: I saw her at the high school I'll be attending, and she was really amazing. I've never seen anyone so gorgeous. Standard POVA girl waiting outside in the rain with an umbrella said, "Oh, Yamato Oni-chan's late." Ayano told her daughter, "Wait for him inside, you're going to get a cold." But he said he would be here before 2 p.m. Maybe his mom didn't let him go to school in Tokyo, Miho replied. Ayano told her daughter, "It's okay sis," said she'd let him go. As long as he stays here with us. He probably stops somewhere on the way. He's such a flighty child, isn't that right, Guro-chan? Before engaging in baby talk with her feline. With a croquette in his mouth, the now known Yamato said, "Sorry I'm late." Akatsuki Yamato has arrived at his destination, while saluting. Ayano grinned and said, "You're late, Yamato-kun. The princess is quite angry, you know." "Wha?" Yamato questioned prior to Miho tackling him. "You're late, Yamato Oni-chan," Mihi exclaimed, giving Yamato a hug. Yamato asked the princess, "Miho-chan, you've grown. You're starting junior high this year, right?" "I'm in my second year." "You're so careless, Oni-chan," Miho replied. Sheepishly, Yamato said, I know, you stopped somewhere on the way, didn't you, Oni-chan?" replied Miho. Yamato said, "Yup. How did you know?" Miho exclaimed with excitement, "Isn't it obvious? I know everything about you." Ayano laughed as he remarked, "You Miho sure knows a lot." "Shish mom!" shouts Miho. Yamato bowed and said, "Well then, Auntie Ayano, please take care of me." Ayano chuckles. Ayano remarked, "No need to be so formal." Yamato replied, "Yeah, but you're my landlord." "Yes, that may be true, but you're still a relative. Your luggage is in your room." Ayano replied. Yamao gave a nod. Yamato looked around after saying, "Thanks, Auntie." With some hurt, Yamato inquired, "Where's your son, Auntie? He didn't want to see me?" "Oh, Naruto-kun isn't here. He was at his friend's house for a week. I just called him and told him to buy some food for today's welcome party." Ayano replied. Yamato gave a nod. "Come on, Oni-chan. Let me give you a tour to your room," said Miho. Yamato exclaimed, "This is my new home, the super public bath and women's dorm Asahi Heights bathhouse," as he surveyed the structure. "Technically men aren't allowed to live here, but it's not like I don't know you. It'll be nice to have another man to help around the place, and besides it would be nice for Naruto-kun to have another friend that isn't a girl. Oh, the others already know about you," Ayano replied. Don't worry Ayano-san, you know I always get things done, the rent is free and you're even paying me to work here for part-time, obviously I'll work hard cleaning the bathhouse or whatever, Yamato replied. Giving air quotes on the final section, Ayano stated, cleaning the bathhouse is really hard, you know, even Naruto-kun needs extra help. Easy, I'm a pretty strong guy, you know, besides this could give me a chance to bond with my nephew, Yamato replied. Oni-chan, what we're doing before coming here, replied Miho. Oh, I went to the convenience store to buy a snack, there was a long line, Yamato replied. Really? You sure you weren't cheating on me? Miho replied. What are you saying? Yamato exclaimed, agitated. Miho said, suspicious of your rambling. As he left for the bathhouse, Yamato declared, I'll go clean the bath now, I'll unpack later. At the scene, Ayano was laughing alongside Naruto. When Naruto finally reached the dorm, he was heading to the kitchen when Ayano, who was sipping tea, met him. Still feeling strange, Naruto declared, I'm home. Welcome home Sochi, so did you get the items? Replied Ayano. Yeah, I got the cake, the rice, potatoes, tomatoes, onions, ice cream, beer and the ramen, said Naruto. When he said, ramen, Ayano signed. How are you still alive? Eating all that ramen would kill a normal person, Ayano replied. Naruto grinned and remarked, well, it's a good thing I'm not normal. Ayano said, true, so how was your training trip? As he arranged the groceries, Naruto remarked, it was good, I'm getting faster, just not at the speed I want to be at, and Lan is getting better at using swords. You're already fast, you're probably the fastest in the world, so why do you want to go faster? Replied Ayano. With a dejected expression, Naruto remarked, the speed I want to achieve is nothing compared to my old acquaintance, compared to him I'm nothing more than a turtle. When Ayano saw this, she set her teacup on the table, stood up, and gave Naruto a hug. Don't worry Naru-kun, you no longer have to be hurt by them. Ayano replied. Naruto gave his mother a hug in return after nodding. Naruto grinned and said, Arigato ka-san. Ayano grinned. Alright, now go help Yamayo-kun with the bathhouse, Ayano replied. Yamato is here already? I thought he was coming tomorrow, Naruto replied. Sign, Naruto-kun, I told he was coming today. Oh, he's also living beside you, so be nice to him. Ayano replied. Naruto gave a nod. With hope, Naruto said, can I use my Kage Bunshin no Jutsu? Naruto signed in frustration and dragged his legs to the bathhouse after Ayano said, not today, you can use it when no one is watching. As he entered the bathhouse, he noticed a boy standing beneath Megumi's head. Beneath her butt, Yuka was standing on the sidelines, taking pictures with her cell phone, and he noticed Miho with steam leaking from her head and the girl he met at the school he would eventually attend. That's her. Naruto pondered. Using Yamato, he went to the bathhouse to work his part-time job. After fleeing Miho regretfully, he had misjudged the super bath. Yamato stopped what he was doing and looked around, saying, this is really tiring. But, Mana, they've got jacuzzis and a sauna and everything is new, they probably attacked lots of young girls. Yamato reflected. Young ladies. I might be able to get a female friend this time. Recalling his hometown, Yamato thought, it's just depressing that a runt like Takashi got a girlfriend before me. Unexpectedly, Miho exclaimed, "Aw, you haven't filled the bath yet?" To Yamato. Wasn't cleaning easy for you? That's what you said, so do it properly," Miho yelled. Be quiet, I'll be done in a bit," Yamato exclaimed. "Hurry it up or else Shishni does this faster than you, and he started when he was 12 inches," Miho replied, which caught Yamato's interest. "Nini? What?" Yamato asked. "Oh yeah. There are 2 university students living here and watch out for them, especially the long-haired one," said Miho. "Why is she dangerous?" Yamato exclaimed in consternation. Miho exclaimed, "She's very dangerous. Especially for a country boy like you." But 2 girls entered the bathhouse after that. Yuka said in her underwear, "Like I said already, just ask the boy out and let them pay for everything. Why else do you have those giant breasts?" "I can't do that. What you do, Saotome-san." Megumi held her face and blushed. "EHHH," exclaimed Miho. "What the devil?" Miho pondered. Yuka remarked, "The bath isn't filled yet?" Really?" Megumi said, unable to see because her glasses were off. "Avoid looking." As she shielded Yamato's eyes, Miho spoke. "Oh no!" Yamato yelled. "Is that the boy the landlady mentioned?" As Yuka watched Yamato attempt to shake Miho off his back, she remarked, "He has a cute face." "You pervert, don't come any closer," Miho yelled. "Observe the nail." Take note of the nails. After saying that, Yamato's hand touched something soft, and when he was able to see again, he noticed that it was touching Yuka's breasts. That amounts to 50,000 yen. 3, Yuka said, removing her bra in a sensual manner. Ah! Yamato shouted. Leave this place, Oni-chan. When she shoved Yamato, he fell and slid on the ground, tripping Megumi and forcing her to sit on his head. Miho yelled. Oni-chan. Miho yelled. Go. Megumi. Yuka gave a cheer. I'm not on Puapif. It wasn't on purpose. Yamato uttered those words, but then he saw a girl he didn't recognize, blue-haired and dressed in a school uniform, enter. Who is she? Yamato wondered when Naruto entered at this point. He was startled to see the high-jumping girl. Naruto thought, it's her. What is she doing here? The girl simply grinned and said, please do that sort of thing in your own room. Why, you were completely mistaken. Arrrrrrr, Yamato shouted. Hey. You're already creating issues while I'm away for a week. As he joined in grabbing everyone's attention, Naruto said. Nini. Naruto, Yuka said, Megumi said, and Miho said. Naruto? Yamato asked himself before realizing. It's my cousin. Yamato thought to himself, yes, it's me, Tibeo. Could you please get rid of Yamato, Megumi-chan? As Megumi nodded and got off, Naruto said. Ka-san would be upset if her nephew couldn't work. Naruto then turned to face Yamato. Yamato nodded and scampered off with Miho when Naruto said, Yamato-san, why don't you help Miho-chan clean the corridors? Those haven't been cleaned for 2 weeks now. Please wait in your rooms until I fill the bath. Yuka-chan and Megumi-chan. After receiving a tch from Yuka and a nod from Megumi, Naruto said, I'll call you when it's done. They returned to the changing rooms to redress before Naruto turned to face the girl with the blue hair. I apologize for that, Naruto said. You'll have to wait for a few minutes if you want to use the bathhouse. The girl nodded and walked out of the room, and Naruto signed as he glanced at the bathhouse after everyone had left. Naruto crossed his fingers and yelled, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Seriously, the kid didn't do anything yet. About 40 clones showed up. All right, boys. When everything is finished, 35 of you clean the bathhouse while the others check the water and get ready to turn on the water. Highs. Was all he heard, and the clones left to go about their business naturally. Naruto assists the clones since he has nothing better to do, and if he left, everyone but Ayano would wonder why he wasn't cleaning the bathhouse. The water was poured into the bathhouse after it had been cleaned for 15 minutes. Done. Phew, why would Ka-san want Yamato to assist me, really? I mean, with his speed, it would take at least 2 hours. Naruto signed and went to announce that the bathhouse was ready. However, he heard shouting, so he hurried to the source, which was his room. Once inside, he discovered Yamato rolling on the floor and his mother lying in the hole in his room. The hole in my room, he exclaimed. Sheesh, Yamato-kun. Why did you smash the wall? Naruto nodded in response to Ayano's question. Yamato stated, it was already broken. I made this room better. I even changed the wallpaper, Ayano remarked. So why didn't you make my room better? Yamato remarked, that hole is distracting. When Ayano said, this isn't even your room, Yamato looked shocked and gave the girl a reef. Yamato did not finish his sentence. What the Nuhozea? Naruto grabbed everyone's attention by declaring, it's mine. Oh, but why would you require a room? Your aunt's son? Yamato inquired. Naruto said sorrowfully, because I'm still not used to living with people. Ayano gave him a dejected look, and Yamato and the girl gave him perplexed looks. But really, what are you doing in here? The name tag was on the door. Did you not read it? Naruto inquired. Name tag? Yamato asked. To identify which room belongs to whom. Each room has a name tag. Really, you not only enter my room, but you also demolish the wall, Naruto remarked. Sorry Asahina-san and Sochi-kun, it'll be fixed by tomorrow, Ayano replied. So Asahina is her last name, Naruto reasoned. Asahina replied, yes thank you, gosh, this kid has been acting badly like this since he was a young child. Even though you're all attending the same school, Ayano remarked, what a difference. What is it? Yamato gripped his nose and said, you know how amazing she is? She was scouted for the track and field team, unlike you, who barely passed the alternate exam, Ayano said. Prodding Yamato's nose, Naruto's eyes widened. Scouted? Whoa, that's fantastic, Titibeo, Naruto yelled. Yes, Sochi is incredible, isn't she? Naruto was staring at her in a new light and was too stunned to respond when Ayano asked her son. Naruto thought, I thought she looked amazing, but man, she just raised her rank if there was a bingo book for girls. Yes, she is stronger than that previous banshee. Naruto blushed as Kyuubi said, now tell everyone to leave, grab her, and have your ways with her. Baka. Why would I do that? Everyone stared at Naruto when he unintentionally yelled. Yamato and Asahina thought he was yelling at them, but Ayano knew who he was talking to. Kyuubi said, Oi Gaki, keep your voice down. Naruto blushed with shame after realizing he had shouted. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself. In any case, you participate in track and field, right? The girl nodded when Naruto attempted to shift the conversation. Yes, given her abilities, she might represent Japan in the future, and I'll be able to boast about it then. Ayano remarked, she used to live in my apartment. Naruto noticed Asahina's somewhat dejected response, yes, I'll work hard. What made her sound depressed? Naruto pondered. Ayano struck Yamato in the head, saying, compared to them, your hey, apologize properly. And Yamato said, sorry. Ayano was unable to finish, now clean this. I'll clean it up, just leave. Oh, and Asahina-san, the bathhouse is cleaned, you can go now, and can you tell Yuka and Megumi on the way? Naruto replied calmly. Asahina gave a nod. Yamato was being dragged away by Ayano. Oh Asahina, feel free to ask for anything from me and Sochi-kun here, and if you want you can use Yamato here as well to cleaning whatnot. Okay, Ayano replied. Naruto and Asahina were left on their own. When they departed, it was awkward that there was no sound to clean up the mess. Naruto went to get cleaning supplies. Trying to strike up a conversation, Naruto asked, so I didn't really get your name. The person who is now known as Suzuka said, it's Asahina Suzuka. Morning bellflower, that's beautiful, Naruto said, grinning as usual as something that hasn't happened since his exile. Suzuka blushed on the inside but remained composed. What's yours? Suzuka inquired, attempting to carry on the discussion. Pointing to himself, Naruto exclaimed, name's Uzumaki Naruto Datbeo. Spiral fish cake? Suzuka asked, a little smiling and perplexed. Naruto screamed, no, it's spiral maelstrom, not fish cake. Naruto had completed tidying his room after Suzuka nodded. Naruto asked, may I go in your room to clean the rest of the things up? And they entered her room. Seriously, first day he comes and I already have clean up after him, said Naruto. Well, you should have known that since he is your cousin, Suzuka replied. Suzuka nodded understandingly as Naruto said, yeah, but this is the first time I heard of him. I only know what he's like from Miho, but now that I think about it, he's completely opposite to what she said. Naruto inquired, so when did you come here? Suzuka stated, 6 days ago. Really? Then that explains why I didn't see you. Sorry I didn't greet you, I was trying to get away from Miho from her Yamato lectures. Naruto replied. Suzuka gave a nod. Naruto used the hole in his room to enter his room and said, okay, done. If you have any problems please don't hesitate to ask me, especially since we're neighbors. After that, Naruto went to find a piece of cardboard and used it to cover the hole in his room. Alongside Suzuka, Suzuka was obtaining the supplies she required for the bathhouse. She was thinking about a certain blonde. Suzuka thought, his attitude is just like his, but he paused to stare at the hole in the room. On the first day of his arrival, that idiot is causing problems. However, Uzumaki appears unconcerned. Suzuka thought, it's obvious who's mature, and she covered the hole like Naruto with a piece of cardboard paper. Then someone knocked on her door. She waited until the person left, hoping it wasn't Yamato, because she didn't want to deal with his foolishness. But the knocking persisted. She became agitated and opened the door. Suzuka said, stop that, what do you want? Until she saw Miho standing at the door. Miho inquired, where is Oni-chan? Suzuka responded, Miho-chan, he left with Ayano-san. Really? I heard he broke the wall between yours and Nini's. Don't hate Yamato Oni-chan too much, replied Miho. Suzuka said, huh? Even today it was Saotome-san's fault that things turned out the way it did in the bath. I also shoved him away and Miho sighed. Suzuka said, you came up here to tell me that? Yes, because you seem to hate Oni-chan, so Miho replied. Suzuka replied, well, I might, because he did break the wall. Well, he is clumsy, but he has his good sides, like he's kind and funny and he can make okonomiyaki, said Miho. Suzuka remarked, you're quite devoted to your Oni-chan? Miho grinned. Miho grinned and said, I guess he just brings out my bossy side. Suzuka opened her mouth to speak, but stopped when Yamato yelled. Stop that! Shouted Yamato. What's wrong? You still owe me 50,000 yen for touching my breasts? Yuka replied. That wasn't on purpose, exclaimed Yamato. Megumi was heard saying, Yuka-san, please stop. However, Naruto emerged from his room when the door next to Suzuka opened. Naruto shouted, "Stop that," and began to stomp across the dorm. Naruto screamed, "You're disturbing everyone," Yuka asked. "What are you going to do, a blonde?" Naruto returned with Yamato in tow, saying, "Unless you want me to give nightmares, I reckon you stop yelling and stop blackmailing now. Go, the bathhouse is opened and cleaned." Naruto told Yamato, who nodded fearfully at his face, "And you stop acting weak around them. The moment they smell weakness they'll do anything, ruin your life." Naruto threw Yamato to his door and said, "Now just go to your room and don't come out until dinner." Yamato said, But I have to lock up the bathhouse." Naruto slammed his door and said, "I'll do it." Yamato rose and walked head down to his room. Now there was quiet. Miho was furious on the inside but nervously glanced up at Suzuka. "He does something foolish once more while I'm attempting to help him save face around here. He's fortunate that Nini was there to save him," Miho pondered. As she went to her room, which she shared with her mother, Miho said, "I'm sorry about that, please don't hate too much." Suzuka shut the door she signed once she was inside. "Maybe a little sorry, Miho-chan, I just can't bring myself to like that guy," Suzuka replied. After gathering her belongings and heading to the bathhouse, Suzuka remarked, "Because of that stupid Oni-chan I haven't been able to take a bath." Alongside Naruto, Kyuubi and Naruto were conversing on his bed. "Hey furball, what should I do right now? I completed all of my tasks," Naruto remarked. "There are more people to watch out for, so I can't go outside and train." "Why don't you look for that blue-haired vixen and have your ways with her?" asked Kyuubi. "I apologize for asking," Naruto said. "Well, if you have nothing to do, why don't you think of ways you can use the Kekkei Genkai I gave you?" Kyuubi replied. "I'm at a loss for ideas on how to use it. I mean, unless I want my hand to vanish, I can't use it like a Rasengan. You had to give a Kekkei Genkai that is only capable of destruction." "But why?" Naruto said. "Well, I'm the Kyuubi no Yoko. I only know how to destroy. If you want to bring the dead back to life, then you got the wrong Biju," Kyuubi replied. After signing, Naruto stood up as his door was forcefully opened. Yuka yelled, "Afternoon, it's the business trip hostess," 3 inches while holding a drink. Megumi exclaimed worriedly, "Hey Saotome-san, you shouldn't be doing this." Naruto signed, saying, "Hey Yuka, you're drunk, go back to your room and sleep." Yuka declared, "I'm not drunk." Naruto deadpanned, "Sure you're not." Megumi said, Sorry Naruto-kun, I'll take her back." According to Naruto, "Please do." Then Yuka pushed Megumi and said something that nobody could understand. Megumi landed on top of Naruto. Megumi said, "Sorry, Naruto-kun," but she was drinking a bottle of alcohol at the time. "Shut up and drink," yelled Yuka. "Oh no." Naruto reasoned that Megumi and alcohol are incompatible. Sauna guidelines don't bring any food or drinks. Using more than 12 minutes, Suzuka is lounging in the sauna while wearing just a towel. "Phew, this is much better. I'm glad that I chose this apartment with equipments like this. It'll be easier to relax after practice, and the fact that it's free no matter how much I use it really helps," Suzuka stated. Suzuka was recalling what her former classmates and Ayano had said. She recalled the words of her former principal. "Well, I'm surprised, Asahina, you cleared 169 centimeters in the high jump. I heard you were the highest in Kanagawa. The principal is very happy. You are the pride of this school." Suzuka thought, 169 centimeters after that one jump, scouts from many high schools. Suzuka remarked as she watched the sand clock next to her go all the way down. "Everyone is expecting me to do well, that's why I have to jump higher," but later on, she flipped it. Alongside Naruto, Naruto is making his way down the hallways to the bathhouse in order to shut off the water supply. "Damn, when Tsunade is intoxicated, they're worse. I would not have been able to use Kawarimi with my fox plush toy if they were aware of what was going on around them while intoxicated. I just hope they don't do anything offensive to it, and I'm curious as to why Megumi always flashes her breasts when intoxicated." At last, Naruto arrived at the bathhouse and proceeded to the room's water tank. After shutting it off, he proceeded to the exit to secure it until Kyuubi spoke. Kyuubi said, "Kit, there's someone here, huh? Are you certain?" Naruto inquired. Kyuubi replied, "Yeah, check for a chakra pulse." Following instructions, Naruto looked for a chakra pulse in their room's kitchen. He discovered his mother and Miho, Megumi and Yuka in his room. Yamato has a room of his own, however. A pulse was later discovered in the sauna room of the bathhouse. Asahina-san is that. As Naruto entered the sauna room and discovered Suzuka unconscious, he thought. Naruto banged on the door and yelled, "Asahina," but she didn't move. Why is she inside at this hour? What's more, how long has she been inside? When Naruto attempted to open the door, he discovered that it was locked from the inside. Naruto screamed, "Why'd you put the lock on the inside?" He attempted to open the door, but eventually gave up and leapt back. As he prepared to initiate a Rasengan, Naruto said, "Sorry Ka-san, but it looks I'm going to have break my promise." He sprinted and slammed the Rasengan at the door, shredding it to pieces as a blue orb materialized in his right palm. He could feel the difference in temperature as soon as he entered the room. "Damn, it's hot!" exclaimed Naruto. She was still alive when Naruto went to check her pulse. "Hey Asahina! Get a hold of yourself!" shouted Naruto. "Suzuka's chamber. No need to worry, she's just dehydrated. She drank some water and her temperature coming back down, so she'll be fine. She's just sleeping now," Ayano replied. With a sigh of relief, Naruto remarked, "That's good, she really scared me." With a menacing tone, Ayano remarked, "I was scared too. Destroying my door to pieces. What did I say about using chakra inside the house? Sorry, I thought I wasn't going to make it in time, and you know us ninjas, we kind of get a..." Naruto was interrupted. Yes, I know, but that still doesn't mean you have to destroy my doors with a ball of destruction. The repair for the door is coming out of your allowance," Ayano replied with a nod. Naruto said with a dejected air, "Yes, I understand." Ayano remarked, "You know I like that part of you." "Huh?" Naruto asked, perplexed. The side that only cares about his comrades and friends, and not care about oneself. Your old village should be disappointed that they let someone like you go. Ayano was beaming. Naruto lamented, the only thing they saw was a monster. Well, it's their loss now. I have a great son that I can brag about to everyone. Ayano replied with a grin. Then she made her way to the door. Ayano said, "Well, I'll go clean up the bath, take care of her, bye-bye." Before heading out, only Suzuka and Naruto remained in the room after Ayano had left. "It's my fault, I should have gone and locked the bath earlier," said Naruto. Suzuka scared Naruto by saying, "Don't worry," Naruto exclaimed. "Wha? You were awake?" "I woke up because you were being noisy. Besides, why did you break the door? Are you stupid?" Suzuka replied. "Wha?" Naruto exclaimed. He sensed the return of his former self. "You're the stupid one. Who do you think I destroyed the door for? Going in the sauna for 12 minutes and fainting in there? At least read the rules before you go in there," Naruto yelled. "Dehydrated," Suzuka said softly. "I read them," Naruto shouted. "Then follow them. Besides Yura." But Suzuka cut him off. Suzuka shouted, "I'm sorry. I know that." "Huh?" Her outburst startled Naruto. "I thought that if I lost weight then I could jump higher," Suzuka shouted. "Wha?" asked a bewildered Naruto. "Every time they see me, my parents, senpai, kohai, teachers, and school all say, work hard, good luck, jump higher. It's not easy for me to jump 169 centimeters. When I made that one jump, I was the one who was most surprised. I was so focused that I can't recall how I made that leap. The bar keeps rising, and everyone expects me to do more than I am capable of. I was afraid?" Suzuka cried out. "Is it 169 centimeters high?" inquired Naruto. "I don't think so. Kushina leapt higher than that. I'm about 50 feet, 1,524 centimeters, tall, so I should know that she once leapt up to my height," Kyuubi remarked. "What is that in centimeters?" inquired Naruto. Kyuubi said, "Talk to me later. Right now you have to calm that vixen down." Naruto recalled that she was standing in front of him. "Well, I don't know much about high jumping considering we never did that stuff in Ka." Naruto started to say Konoha, but noticed Suzuka's perplexed expression and stopped himself. "Well, what I'm attempting to convey is that you were successful in doing it once, correct?" With a broad smile on his face, Naruto said, "Then you can do it again, just practice." "What? You're so irresponsible," Suzuka yelled. "So what, aside from that, you enjoy high jumping, correct?" Suzuka gave Naruto a nod as he asked. "Well, then disregard those old geezers, as well as those stupid senpais and kohai. They don't seem to understand how difficult it is. All you need to do is focus on yourself rather than what other people think of you. As I previously stated, you can do it again once you've done it." Suzuka became enraged and threw the wet towel on her head at Naruto, who made a funny face and said, "Besides, if you love it so much, then have fun. Don't be grouch or you'll look like this." "I will not appear that way," Suzuka shouted. "There you have it. I was looking for that expression in your eyes. Datbeo." Naruto smiled as he easily dodged the towel. "Well, I'll go assist Ka-san now. See you." Suzuka stopped Naruto as he was about to get up and leave. "Hey, keep the fact that I was crying a secret, all right?" Suzuka blushed and covered half of her face with a blanket as she spoke. Naruto teased her, saying, "I dunno, after all the yelling you gave me in the towel." Hey, swear to me. Suzuka shouted. Naruto teased us, saying, hi, hi. Suzuka pointed to the water bottle and said, oh, and get that water. All right, Naruto said as he got the water and pondered. I assumed she was just interested in getting ahead and sticking her ass up, but Suzuka demanded that they change the towel. Refrain from pushing it, Naruto shouted. Naruto thought, but she's just like me, she has her own problems. I feel like I understand her a little now. Early in the morning. I'm tired, Asahina-chan yawned. In addition, why must I attend your morning practice? Spring break is still in effect, Naruto remarked, yawning and rubbing his eyes. You said I could jump it again, don't you, Naruto-kun? Suzuka said, then accept responsibility and see if I can do it or not. As he leaned on the jumping bar, causing it to fall, Naruto thought, I said you could do it, but I never said I would take responsibility. What are you doing? Naruto scurried to retrieve the bar and place it back on the stand after Suzuka yelled at him. Oui, monsieur. It's tilted. Be mindful. Naruto returned it to normal after Suzuka screamed. Naruto remarked, here, try to jump. Don't play tricks on me, for me. This is simple, Suzuka said, sprinting to the pole and leaping. Naruto thought, whoa, that's amazing, as he watched her leap over the bar. Suzuka touched the bar as she was going over, which made it tremble, and she eventually landed on the cushion behind the bar. Hey, you hit, Naruto remarked, you know, that was really close. Not at all, Suzuka remarked, I got used to this easily. Well, perhaps this isn't your day after all, Naruto uttered those words. Suzuka said sadly, I never have those days, hey? Oh, really? Perhaps yesterday's fatigue still affects you? Naruto scratched his chin nervously as he spoke. You don't need to keep motivating me. That's sufficient. What ought I to do? I am unable to jump more than 164 centimeters. That is insignificant in comparison to 169 centimeters. If things continue this way, I'll never. Then Suzuka spots the scale. What? Naruto yells. Hey, could you please align the bar? Naruto was perplexed when Suzuka asked. At 164 centimeters, look at this. 164 centimeters? Naruto pointed to the scale. That's incorrect, you moron. The top is aligned at 164 centimeters, Suzuka shouted. I'm sorry, I still don't know how most of these stuff works, Naruto replied. How reckless of you. What will you do at this point? I didn't even realize I had set a new record because of you, Suzuka shouted. That day, she unofficially tied the impressive all-time female junior high 12th place record at 173 centimeters, but aside from that, Asahina's icy attitude vanished out of all the faces I've seen her make. This one was the most prettiest of all, Naruto thought. Ayano held up 2 pieces of paper and said, that'll be 98,098 yen from Yamato for breaking the wall and 59,953 yen from Naruto for breaking the sauna door. I made the payment, Ayano stated. I've decided that Yamato will work without par for 2 months and Naruto will have no allowance for 1.5 months. If you're wondering, look at the department. Yamato and Naruto both exuded a melancholy aura. Miho remarked, that's cruel, Ka-san. I'll help with the. However, the wall exploded before Suzuka could finish. What the heck? Naruto uttered those words. Where are we? Yuka inquired. I have a headache, Saotome-san. Naruto was red by this time, Megumi said. You idiots, you just broke through the wall once more, Naruto shouted. Naruto-kun. What are you talking about? Last night was really intense. You have the endurance to manage 2 women like that? Yuka uttered those words. What on earth are you discussing? In addition, how will you finance the wall? Ready to grab a kunai and hurl it at them, Naruto screamed. Hey, you noticed Megumi's breasts? You're a boob freak, Yuka remarked. Megumi exposing her breasts while intoxicated is not my fault. And quit dodging the question. How will you finance the wall? Naruto shouted. It seems like Naruto-kun is irresponsible with women. Suzuka smirked as she said that. You are hentai, ni. Miho yelled with what appeared to be a perverted smile on his face. Yamato said, lucky. Ayano sighed, looks like no allowance for 5 months. HMPH, Suzuka declared. This isn't how it appears, Naruto shouted. It's going to be a difficult journey for me, Naruto thought. Naruto's perspective: coming to Tokyo, attending a Tokyo high school, making trustworthy friends, gaining a loving family, and developing a crush on the most gorgeous girl I've ever seen. Yes, my life is much better than it was before. That is, if I didn't have to deal with issues like these on a daily basis. Wow, you're like this every day. I swear, if I didn't know any better, I would say that Megumi and Yamato were meant to be together for some reason. Megumi's breasts always end up on Yamato's face, Suzuka said to Yamato, who was beneath Megumi. What's the issue now? Geez. Everyone jumps away from me as I say this. Ni. Once more, Saotome-san and Matsumoto-san are being perverts, Miho yelled. I just sighed when Yuka said, what are you talking about? I'm trying to get rich here. Leave Yamato. Megumi. Everything was normal until I noticed Suzuka staring at me, and Yuka. Unless you want me to make you go bankrupt again, I suggest you stop blackmailing Yamato, I said. Eliciting a grumble from Yuka. Miho appeared pleased at that Yamato was closing his eyes, and Megumi was getting up. What's on my face? I asked, perplexed, and Suzuka shook her head rapidly. No. What exactly do you mean, bankrupt Yuka-san? I was about to respond when Miho cut me off when Suzuka asked. Ni is a fantastic poker player. Unless he chooses to, he has never lost to anyone. Miho uttered those words. Yuka complained. Yeah, made me lose all the money I got from Len-kun. I said defensively, hey, you took the money he was going to spend on a new computer. You take risks? Suzuka inquired, a little angry and a little curious. With trepidation, I replied, not exactly, the Gaki is simply fortunate. He still doesn't understand the rules of poker, Yuka remarked, growing increasingly irate that she consistently lost to novices. That's right. I'm simply too fortunate, I remarked. Could you give me a little of that luck? With anime tears streaming down his face, Yamato uttered those words. I laughed and said, I would if I knew how. What are you doing here so early, Ni? Usually, aren't you at the forest on the edge of the area? Miho queries me. Oh, I see. Ka-san called me early to let me know she needed my assistance. I laughed as I said, now I understand why. A pervert. One of the women in the bathhouse let out a scream. What? Before a wooden butt struck my head, I asked. Pervert, get out. Abruptly, a sizable group of women began hurling objects at me. Hey, you're completely wrong. You don't even pique my interest, I shouted, which only made things worse. What do you mean? Are you implying that we lack beauty? One of the women said, and I hurried to the exit to escape. Before I left, I noticed Yuka, Megumi, and Miho laughing. Yamato was hiding in the control room, and Suzuka was just staring as if nothing had happened. Then I realized that she is the exact opposite of me. Even though I sometimes act like I have everything under control, I still act like a goofball and make a lot of mistakes, but she always has a serious expression on her face and never seems to smile until she unofficially broke her high jumping record. She is my worst enemy because it's difficult to guess what she is thinking. During dinner, the food prepared by Aunt Ayano is truly amazing. I had no idea that I would be receiving free food in Tokyo, Yamato shouted. Ayano said, Yamato-kun, eat with your mouth closed. Miho picked up a napkin and wiped Yamato's face, saying, Oni-chan, there's rice on your face. I apologize for this, Suzuka said. I'm having the landlady prepare dinner for us. Don't worry, you three couldn't cook for yourself because you're still in high school, right? Ayano mentioned Yamato and Naruto-kun in particular. What? Yamato and I both spoke. Yamato, you would make a huge mess of everything, and Naruto-kun, all you would be eating ramen. Ayano replied. That is untrue. Everyone turned to look at me as Yamato and I yelled, respectively. What? I would only eat ramen. It's true, since I was 4 years old, I've only eaten ramen, I remarked. A normal person would be dead with all that sodium in your system, Suzuka replied. I replied, well, I'm not normal then. That's accurate. In all my years, I have never encountered a Gaki that irritates me, Kyubi remarked. Unaware that I was saying it aloud, I said, shut up, furball. What were you saying? Yamato inquired. Not at all, I said, just talking to myself again. Suzuka said, weirdo. Hey, I shouted. Stop arguing, aren't you all hungry? Miho inquired. I certainly do. I screamed and grabbed everything I could fit on my plate. Oh, so the day after tomorrow is when you guys start high school, correct? I almost forgot that you two are moving in and starting high school, and we should celebrate. I'll prepare a table full of delectable food for you, said Ayano. Suzuka remarked, that's really embarrassing. Don't worry, we've already done this for Saotome and Megumi, but tomorrow will be a busy day for me. Regretfully, Naruto and Suzuka, would you both be able to go shopping for me? Ayano inquired. Oh, you'd like us to leave together? Suzuka shouted. I'd like to go too. Miho shouted. You have school tomorrow, Miho, so you can't go. I'm sorry, Suzuka-chan, but Naruto-kun is the only person who knows the area and can carry a lot of bags, and I don't trust Yamato going around for a while, Ayano remarked. Yes, I'll go, but what happened to the items I purchased the week before? I inquired. Miho-chan ate the cake you bought and everything else was finished, Ayano replied. I looked at Suzuka and said, well, I don't mind as long as Asahina-chan doesn't. According to Suzuka, I don't mind, normal POV. And the following morning, Suzuka, who was shivering from the cold, kept pressing the buzzer in front of Naruto's door. What is that guy doing? Geez, wake up, Naruto, Suzuka shouted. Naruto scared Suzuka as he came up the stairs and said, you know you don't need to yell so much, I'm awake, you know. What? You were in your room, right? Suzuka shouted. No, I took a stroll in the morning, let's go, anyway, Naruto said. Are you certain you don't want to change before we leave? Suzuka remarked, it's cold, as she saw that Naruto was dressed in black jeans, slippers, and an orange shirt with the kanji fox on the front. Naruto smiled and said, don't worry, I'm not cold. Don't give that to me. Simply enter and get dressed, Suzuka shouted. After seeing the glare Suzuka was giving him, Naruto said, sheesh bossy much. He sighed and got something appropriate, and they left without exchanging words or even glancing at one another. As she passed Naruto, Suzuka remarked, you better guide me properly, I don't know this city very well. Hi, as you wish, mistress. Naruto pretended to bow before avoiding Suzuka's blow. Naruto laughed and said, haha, calm down, Asahina-chan. Do you think this place has a calming effect? Gazing at the ancient street, Naruto inquired. Is that accurate? I'm not aware of it, Suzuka remarked. Come on, stop acting that way, people feel good about this old street, don't they? Naruto uttered those words. Really? The street is crowded and filthy, it's difficult for me to breathe, Suzuka remarked indifferently. Really? Naruto inquired. Enough, let's hurry up with the shopping and go home, Suzuka replied. Yes, the landlady requested that we purchase a few everyday necessities as she boarded the mall escalator, Suzuka exclaimed. Let's go buy them first since the stores are closers. Hey, hold on. Really, she detested the idea just a minute ago, Naruto whispered. Now she seems to be enjoying it, but as he looked up and noticed a small portion of Suzuka's underwear, his eyes widened. Oh my god, good. Suzuka spun around and asked, what is it? Confused, Suzuka asked. Not at all. Lucky, Naruto exclaimed to himself. Suzuka deadpanned, weirdo. Naruto believed that she would kill him if he told her that he had seen her underwear. Don't worry, kid, I won't let you die until we ravage her, Kyuubi replied. Stop talking, Ero Kitsune. Naruto screamed at the fox, who was flushed. Inside a 100-yen store, I believe the store was untranslated and in Japanese. So, which one ought we to pick? Suzuka held 2 toilet covers as she posed the question. Well, that one is too tiny for the dorm restrooms. Looking at the covers, Naruto remarked, this one is the right size, but I don't like the color scheme. All right, so how about this one? Suzuka inquired. Looking through other covers, Naruto remarked, doesn't look comfy. You appear to know a lot about this, Suzuka remarked. Most men would just say buy whatever and not care. Well, Ka-san made it clear that if I didn't at least think about the dorm and its occupants, then it would mean a whole day locked up in a room with a drunk Yuka and Megumi. Naruto groaned. Suzuka, perplexed by his actions, remarked, most guys would kill to be in that position. Yes, but I'm not like most guys, you won't want to be near them once you realize how awful they are, Naruto remarked. After 3 hours. Oh seriously, Ka-san, most of the stuff we bought isn't going to be used, Naruto grumbled. Why are you concerned? She advised us to purchase it, Suzuka said. Enough talking, let's get home quickly, this place is suffocating me. Hey, let me tell you something, this place isn't bad as you may think it is, Naruto replied. Suzuka remarked, it's my tide to think how I want. After that, allow me to take you to lunch. I am aware of a restaurant that offers incredibly tasty food. Your perspective will shift after you consume it. Suzuka gave him a look and sighed, according to Naruto. He's in the hospital. What do you mean? Naruto yelled. The restaurant waitress apologized, saying, it appears that Naruto-kun accidentally burned his hand when turned on the stove today. But it's still open, correct? Naruto inquired. The waitress said, sorry, the store is closed until the chef returns. Naruto sagged. According to Suzuka, I'm going now. Hold on, you'll have second thoughts about that store. Just one more store, please. Suzuka looked at Naruto's fox-like face and had to say yes when he begged. Suzuka said, "Fine, lead the way." "Yes. Thank you, Asahina, you won't be sorry. Tte Bayo." Naruto uttered those words. You're closed for the week." "What do you mean?" Naruto shouted. "I apologize, Naruto-kun, but you used up all of our supplies after coming here to eat," the restaurant's daughter stated. "It will take at least a week to get all the materials." Naruto was devastated because he wanted to prove to Suzuka that Tokyo was a wonderful city, but all of his efforts were failing. According to Suzuka, "I'm going." "Wait, there's another," Naruto said, but Suzuka cut him off. "No, I detest this area, particularly this street," Suzuka exclaimed as she ran, and Naruto followed, now sprinting alongside her. "Hey, stop rushing. The next location is fantastic, and I promise they won't close." Naruto uttered those words. "Don't follow me, please." When Suzuka abruptly leapt over a sign, Naruto tripped and dropped everything because he was unaware of the sign. "Why is that stupid sign there?" Naruto shouted to himself. Suzuka paused, turned to face Naruto, and assisted him in gathering up everything that had fallen. You're obstinate. Geez, we visited every restaurant you mentioned, but none of them were open. Why were all the restaurants closed if they were so good?" Suzuka declared. Naruto pondered. "Most of them closed because they didn't want me to finish all of their food, and some of them faked their injuries." "Oh, only one location. Join me," Naruto yelled as he rushed ahead. "Wait, Naruto. Where are you heading?" Suzuka said. "Enough, let's just head home." "Get moving. This location is fantastic." After saying this, Suzuka followed him until he stopped in front of what appeared to be an ice cream shop on top of a hill. After a while, Naruto grabbed 2 popsicles and turned to Suzuka, gesturing for her to follow him to the hill's edge, where he placed the groceries on the bench and gave Suzuka a popsicle. "This way. This is among their most well-liked flavors," Naruto remarked. "The fall season is in full swing at this moment. Who consumes ice cream?" Suzuka inquired. "Everyone in this room does. This store is among the greatest places to get ice cream." Suzuka eventually gave in and accepted the popsicle after Naruto continued to try to give it to her. "And it doesn't matter what time of year it is, people will come here no matter what." "What flavor is it?" Suzuka opened the wrapper and asked. "Taste of sea salt." Suzuka nodded and licked the popsicle after Naruto remarked, "It's not as bad as it sounds." According to Suzuka, "It's good. Look." Looking over the hill, Naruto said, "And what's better than eating ice cream than eating while looking at the view?" Suzuka turned to face him and saw the entire city. Suzuka exclaimed, lost in admiration, "Wow, yes, however, if it's at night, it's much better." As Suzuka pictured what it was like at night, Naruto remarked, "The dark sky and lights from the buildings illuminating the city." "You are the first girl I brought here. You know, actually, aside from Lan, you are the only person who is familiar with this location." "But Lan's dude," Naruto remarked, glancing at Suzuka and noticing a slight flush on her face. "You must have brought the landlady or Miho-chan here, right?" Suzuka tried to conceal her blush as she spoke. "No. On the way home. Miho-chan typically visits the shrine after finishing his popsicle and examining the stick," Naruto remarked, "and Ka-san always goes to a bakery." "Damn it. I lost once more," Naruto shouted. "What?" Suzuka inquired. "Oh, you're not sure there is competition among these popsicles? A month's worth of complimentary sea salt popsicles are yours if you win the stick." Suzuka nodded as Naruto tossed the stick in the little trash can next to the bench, saying, "And every time I try to win one of these I always lose." "So, do you now have a different perspective on the city?" Smiling, Naruto inquired. Suzuka caught Naruto's attention by saying, "I didn't want anything to change." "Huh? I wanted to attend school with my regular pals and continue to enjoy track and field the way I always have. However, everyone has wanted me to attend the renowned school ever since the scouts arrived. I never wanted to come here, though, to be honest. I have 2 weirdos for neighbors, and it's filthy and uncomfortable to live in," Suzuka remarked. Naruto turned to face the city, recalling his time in Konoha with the people he believed to be his friends. The smiles and amiable demeanor of the Ichiraku, Konohamaru and his gang bugging him to teach them a new jutsu, annoying Tsunade about how old she is, calling Ino ugly and a banshee screamer, annoying Sakura for dates, making Hinata faint, pulling practical jokes on the village, and fleeing from Iruka and the Anbus. However, he recalled that Orochimaru and Sasuke were to blame for everything, recalling that he had lost a family member due to Orochimaru, and he wanted to kill Sasuke, but doing so would only cause more problems for himself and Ayano. Naruto said, Sometimes no matter how hard wish for everything to be the same, it will never come true. Suzuka turned to face him and noticed that he seemed to be somewhere else, as evidenced by the sadness and anger in his eyes. Thinking that she had upset him and caused him to feel depressed, she thought of something to say. Suzuka broke Naruto out of transgender when she said, "Well, it's funny because of one of my weird neighbors I got a new high jump record, and found a great place like this." "Really? Then you had better give him thanks," Naruto grinned. As the wind blew, Suzuka turned to face him and said, "Now I feel that I may be able to." "What? Love this city a bit," Suzuka concluded her statement. Naruto said clumsily, attempting to regain his composure, "Oh yeah, right. I appreciate you showing me this location. However, I believe it's time for us to return. The landlady might become irate," Suzuka warned. "You're welcome getting the groceries," Naruto said, "and yeah, let's go back." Looking at Suzuka's beaming face, Naruto thought, maybe there won't be any dramatic change, but I'm starting to feel something change in my heart. My life is about to change, even if it's a bit, along with Asahina's smile. Returning to the dorm, "All right, the setup is complete. Okay, congrats on your admission to high school. And welcome to our newest tenants, Yamato and Suzuka." As she set the cake on the table, Ayano remarked. Yamato said, "Thanks auntie." The words, "Arigato ka-san, this really great," were spoken by Naruto. Suzuka remarked, "This is embarrassing. The couple's first task should be cutting the cake, which comes next," Yuka said. What are you saying?" exclaimed Naruto. "And why are you two here? It's really crowded," exclaimed Miho. Yuka stated, "The more the merrier, we hardly ever get such an opportunity. We want to celebrate," Megumi replied. "Saotome just came here to eat Ka-san's cooking, and try to get Oni-chan drunk. She even brought beer," Miho screamed. "Hey, what are you talking about? If I want anyone drunk, I want Naruto to get drunk," Yuka screamed. Ayano said, "Don't worry, Miho, you know I cook a lot." Miho began, but Yuka exclaimed, "Ah, who cares, let eat." Miho remarked, "Hey, I want Oni-chan to taste it first." As Miho shoved food into Yamato's mouth, Naruto laughed and remarked, "Haha, this party sure is lively. Don't you think they even forgot about us?" Suzuka grinned and said, "To have a party like this being lively isn't such a bad idea." Naruto remarked, recalling Iruka's invitation to the ramen shop when he turned genin, "Yeah, you don't get an atmosphere like this every day." Suzuka winked and remarked, "That would be impolite to say to the landlady." Yuka said, "Oh, you two seem to be in a good mood," as she approached Naruto from behind. Naruto shouted, "You stink of alcohol. Suzuka, you better be careful, this guy is really perverted." You'll never know what he's going to next," Yuka said with a slurry voice. Naruto exclaimed, "What are you talking about?" Suzuka smiled and said, "Yeah, I will," Yuka remarked, "Maybe he already did something to you." Naruto ate while closing his eyes and pretending she didn't exist. "Don't say strange things." Yuka whispered, "Is that true? I accidentally saw you on the stairs today, staring at Suzuka's A." Naruto spit out food and widened his eyes. "Haha, she got you good, Gaki," Kyuubi exclaimed as he rolled around in his cage. "Stop talking." Naruto addressed his tenant. When Naruto asked, "What do you want?" "I want all the money you won from me during that gamble last time," Yuka replied. Naruto shouted, "Idiot, that's way too much." "Oh really, Suzuka, I got something to show you," Yuka exclaimed, displaying her cell phone. "Ka-san would be furious if I destroyed that phone, but damn it, I wish I could. How did she catch me? Aside from that, I am a ninja," Naruto pondered. "Ah, now I remember," Megumi exclaimed abruptly. Naruto replied, "Eh? Yes?" Megumi blurted out, "You looked under Suzuka's skirt today, didn't you? That's a crime, Naruto-kun?" Naruto pounded his head against the table and declared, "I want to kill Ero Sennin for turning me into a pervert." "You are the worst," exclaimed Suzuka. Naruto explained, "I didn't mean to, I was just facing straight and it just happened." "Really, did you make a victory sign afterwards?" Yuka replied. "You pervert!" shouted Suzuka. "Nini hentai!" exclaimed Miho. Yamato shouted, "Agoru-chan, that's mine. Yes, I am experiencing a significant change in my life ever since I arrived here. This seems like just the beginning." "Nations that are essential," a voice asked, "Did you find him yet?" Another voice said, "No, not yet. All we know is that he went to the east." According to the first voice, "Okay, that is all." Miho exclaimed, "By Oni-chan. I'm off to school now," as she headed to her junior high. "See ya, take care," exclaimed Yamato. "Let's go to school together starting tomorrow," said Miho. Yamato says, sure. As he observes Miho leaving, Yamato begins to reflect once Miho is out of sight. As he exits the balcony and heads inside for breakfast, Yamato remarked, I hope Naruto-san helps me, though now that I think about it he's been helping ever since I came here. I have to repay somehow. Starting tomorrow I'll be in high school studying in a new environment. Oh, I'm so full, exclaimed Yamato. Ayano told Yamato, who was playing with Goro, geez, the weather is nice, you should go outside and work out a little. Yamato-kun, you should learn from Suzuka-chan and Naruto-kun. Yamato and Goro ceased their game. Yamato inquired, where are they anyways? Knowing that the game actually meant training, Ayano said, if you have nothing to do you should join a club too. Suzuka-chan went to train long time ago and Naruto-kun went to Lan-kun's house to play a game. Yamato said as he left the room, I got to go clean the bath. Geez. As he approached his room, Yamato remarked, man, Aunt Ayano talks way too much now, she really is my mom's sister. A boy with blonde hair was reading his magazines and eating his potato chips when Yamato opened his door. The blonde boy said, yo, long time no see, I'm here to bother you. Yamato said, who are you? Hey, don't tell me you already forgot. I'm Yasunobu, remember? Exclaimed Yasunobu. Yamato screamed, Yasunobu a Hattori, what are you doing in my room? Yasunobu remarked, hey, you didn't even lock the door, so careless. How can you come in even if the door wasn't locked? That's the same as theft, Yamato shouted. Yasunobu responded, why are you being so mean? We're good friends. When Yamato began to recall how he had first met Yasunobu, he asked, who's your good friend? All the women in the bathhouse called me a pervert after this bastard deceived me, and I was reprimanded for his falsehood. Yasunobu said, how come you don't have any H magazine? Yamato shouted, why would I have those? So you're still the same, still haven't got a girlfriend, hey? Replied Yasunobu. Yamato remarked, that's none of your business. Never mind that, since we'll be going to the same school let's be friends again, Yasunobu replied. I met Miho-chan on the way here, she told me a lot of things about you, I really hope we get to be in the same class. Yasunobu replied. Yamato screamed, what? You're after Miho-chan too? You sick pervert. Please, I'm not interested in small children, women or those with female hormones all over their body like your Aunt Ayano. Sexy, isn't she? Replied Yasunobu. That was the final straw for Yamato. He kicked Yasunobu out of his room after dragging him. Yamato yelled, get out, I don't care about your sick hobby. Oh, I don't want to go yet, exclaimed Yasunobu, but as he stepped outside, he noticed a door bearing Suzuka Asahina's name tag. Yasunobu exclaimed, hey, is this Suzuka girl a beauty? With a silly smile, Yasunobu said, tell me I'm interested in this name? Damn it, I can't let her know that she attends our school and is in the same year as us. I would be killed by Naruto. Especially if I told him that Suzuka is attractive to a pervert like this idiot here, Yamato remarked. Yasunobu pulled out his cell phone and displayed a picture of a girl, saying, here, let me show you something good for once, therefore, you have to introduce me to this Suzuka girl. Who's she? Inquired Yamato. Yasunobu declared, this is my current girlfriend. Yasunobu inquired, how many girls are you actually dating? Well, I can't do anything about men like to have lovers, my dream is one man with many wives, Yasunobu replied. I now realize that if I told him about Asahina-san, Naruto would definitely kill me, and Miho would be furious with me for ruining her scheme to get her Nini a girlfriend. That's all I can do to thank Naruto for his assistance. He's a pervert, and I'll shield Asahina. Yamato pondered. Yamato began by saying, she's a 50-year-old lady. Really? Inquired Yasunobu. Yep, she's also fat and ugly, not to mention rude as well. She's the worst, Yamato replied. From behind, Suzuka said, well, sorry about that, being a fat ugly old lady who is rude. Asahina-san? Exclaimed Yamato. Yasunobu remarked, oh, that's her. Yamato said, look, Asahina, I'm doing this for you. Oh, really? Now by calling me ugly and fat is your way of helping me, Suzuka replied. Naruto said, approaching from behind with a companion, you do, he is actually trying to help, right, Asahina-chan? Everyone turns to face him. Yamato appeared to have been spared. Suzuka was perplexed and furious. Yasunobu appeared to have just seen a ghost and was perspiring. What do you mean? Inquired Suzuka. Well, Yasunobu-san here is actually a big pervert. Once he sets his eyes on a girl, he doesn't back down until the girl says yes to going out with him. Yamato was probably trying to get his attention away from you so he would leave you alone, isn't that right, Yamato-kun? Naruto responded. Yamato threw his hands in the air and exclaimed, yes, that's it. He saved me once more, Yamato shouted in his head. I can take care of myself, and besides he's nothing more than a pervert. How is he a threat to me? Suzuka responded. The boy behind Naruto declared, he's a pervert with 4 girlfriends at the moment. Who are you? Inquired Yamato. Oh sorry, my name is Lan Hikari, Naruto's friend, Lan replied. He has 4 girls. Suzuka started to say, but Yasunobu's shout cut her off. Yasunobu yelled, what are you doing here? While indicating Naruto, receiving perplexed looks from everyone in the room. Naruto responded, what do you mean? I live here. Yasunobu responded, no you don't, I don't see your name anywhere. Naruto pointed to his door and said, my name is right here. That says Naruto Uzumaki. Your name is Naruto Fujikawa, exclaimed Yasunobu. Oh, that I use Fujikawa in formal documents in school. When I'm outside I use Uzumaki. Naruto was beaming. What's wrong with Yasunobu? You look like you just saw a monster or something, Yamato inquired. Of course I'm seeing a monster. Do you know who he is? He's the pranking king from the 9 hell, said Yasunobu. Pranking king? Inquired Yamato. Yes, he's a master prankster. He even painted the whole Seika Junior High in broad daylight and no one knew how, Yasunobu replied. Now let's save the questions for another time. Naruto here needs to study, and that would be impossible if he were answer questions the whole day, Lan replied. Aw, seriously, do I really need to? I mean, can't I spend the last day of spring break how I want to? Naruto was grumbling. No, unless you want to get good grades, I suggest we start now, Lan replied. As he and Lan entered Naruto's room, Naruto remarked, damn, oh well, I'll see you guys at dinner. Only Suzuka, Yamato, and Yasunobu remained. Suzuka turned in Yamato's direction. You're the worst. Suzuka slammed her door and cried out. After saying, how does Naruto-san like her? Yamato turned to face Yasunobu. He shouted at Yasunobu, I blame you, and entered his room. Yasunobu departed. During dinner, Ayano's room had a dining room where Miho, Suzuka, and Yamato were eating. When Suzuka slammed the sauce in front of Yamato, he said, Asahina-san, could you pass the bean sauce? Asahina-san, please pass the sauce. Thanks, said Yamato. Miho said, are you two fighting? In any case, I'm just a fat, ugly, rude old lady, Suzuka declared. I didn't mean it at all. Didn't you hear Naruto say I was? Yamato began, but Ayano's arrival in the room cut him off. Yasunobu Hattori stopped by today, didn't he, Yamato-kun? Ayano inquired. Aunt Ayano, did you meet him? Yamato inquired. Yes, he stopped by to greet us. That boy's manners haven't changed. As she poured tea into Suzuka's cup, Ayano remarked, I really like him. What a pervert he is, Yamato remarked, even Naruto concurs. However, Yasunobu Senpai and I attended the same middle school. He's so well liked that he even has his own fan club, Miho remarked. Suzuka remarked, oh, so the exact opposite of Yamato. Do you know what? Yamato shouted. Suzuka remarked, I have a pretty good idea. However, I'm quite concerned that Yasunobu Senpai will negatively impact Oni-chan. Oni-chan will also be popular if he aspires to be like him, Miho worriedly remarked. Suzuka remarked, you're too protective of Yamato. Miho-chan. Too cautious? Miho inquired. Avoid teaching her unfamiliar vocabulary. In addition, I'd never be that pervert, Yamato shouted. But Suzuka began, though, what? Yamato inquired, assuming she would make fun of him. When Yasunobu-san referred to Naruto-kun as the pranking king from the 9 hells, I wonder what he said. Both Ayano and Miho's eyes widened as Suzuka spoke. After adding, Yamato turned to face Ayano, who appeared to know something. Yeah, now that you mention it, Naruto-san seems to mature to be a prankster. Aunt Ayano, are you aware of anything? Ayano sighed and Yamato asked. Yes, I had Naruto-kun attend the middle school where Miho-chan currently attends after adopting him 2 years ago. Naruto didn't comprehend anything at the time. Additionally, Naruto painted the entire school orange as a practical joke on his first day. Nobody had witnessed him do it, and nobody knew how he did it. Additionally, it was a bright day. Naruto has been playing practical jokes ever since. He still does it, but he only does it to people who annoy him, such as thugs and perverts. Suzuka and Yamato's eyes widened as Ayano remarked. Yasunobu-san must not like him because one day he glued everyone's seat except his and Lan-kun's. Yes, Nini also played a practical joke on the bully at my elementary school. She no longer bullies people, Miho remarked. Really? Whoa, that's fantastic, Yamato shouted. Yes, but I wish he had studied more before coming up with his prank. He's going to pull another practical joke tomorrow. I can already tell, so be careful, Ayano remarked. Naruto really is a genius, but I guess he has a hard time letting go of the past, which caused Suzuka to feel a little depressed as though she was recalling something. Yes, Nini pulls the most inventive practical jokes. The moment he placed the chalkboard eraser on the door was my favorite, Miho remarked. Isn't that a typical practical joke? Yamato inquired. Yes, but Nini used it as a diversion to keep the teacher from noticing the other practical jokes that were being played in front of him, Miho remarked. Negima prank, as Naruto appeared. However, what initially prompted him to pull practical jokes? Yamato inquired. Suzuka noticed that Ayano began with a sad tone and ended with a smile, saying, well, he told it was to get attention at first, but then he just did to irritate his old sensei and just to have fun. Suzuka wondered, why did he want attention? Naruto scratched his back and said, sorry I'm late, Lan wouldn't let me go until I finished everything. He noticed Yamato staring at him. What is Yamato-kun, and am I wearing something? Yamato shook his head at Naruto's question. Where is Lan-kun? Ayano inquired. Oh, he went in order to play with Mega Man. He hurried home, Naruto remarked. What? Mega Man? Yamato inquired. Yes, he created the computer program with his father's assistance. He refers to it as an AI or something that still baffles me, but it's awesome. Mega Man has the ability to respond and perform other tasks that Lan programmed into him in any case. What were you two discussing? Naruto uttered those words. Yamato remarked, oh, about Yasunobu. Oh, that guy is a pervert, so be careful around him. As Lan previously stated, he is simultaneously dating 4 women. Oh, and since you don't know the area well, Yamato, why don't you accompany me and Lan? We were going to take a stroll anyhow, Naruto remarked. Naruto turned to Suzuka after Yamato said, sure, there are some places that changed last time I came here. You can come see me if you'd like. Naruto uttered those words. Thank you, but no, Suzuka remarked. I don't want the same thing to happen like last time. Oh, hurry up, the previous incident was an error. Some of the chefs lied about their injuries in order to prevent me from finishing their stocks. Naruto uttered those words. But I'm leaving now, Suzuka said. Thank you for the meal, landlady. Ayano replied, no problem, Suzuka-chan. Yasunobu, Yamato, Lan, and Naruto were strolling down the street. Yamato asked, tell me again why Yasunobu is walking with us. Naruto looked at Yasunobu, who was rating girls on a scale of 1 to 100, and said, you tell me he was in your room. Naruto thought, he's just like Arasenin, maybe that perverted hermit had a son that nobody knew. Kyuubi replied. Maybe, Naruto answered Yasunobu's question. Hey, isn't that Asahina-san? Snapped Naruto out of his reverie. Where? In search of Suzuka, Naruto thought he noticed that she was carrying something when he located her. Lan questioned, what's she doing out so late? Yeah, especially since she said she didn't want to come out when Naruto offered, Yamato continued. Suzuka noticed Naruto, Yamato, Lan, and Yasunobu when she looked up. Yamato said, hey Asahina-san, what are you doing so late? Yeah, thought you said you didn't want to come out, Naruto replied. Naruto-kun, I just received a call that my microwave oven that I ordered has arrived because the store was opened. They told me to come and pick it up, Suzuka replied. Well, that looks heavy. Why didn't you tell them to deliver it? Yamato replied. I don't want Toa, the delivery cost extra. I'd rather do it myself, Suzuka screamed. Yamato remarked, stingy. Suzuka felt lighter and turned to see Naruto carrying the microwave oven just as she was about to accuse him of being irresponsible. Hey, shouted Suzuka. Well, you should have called me. I would have helped you carry this, Naruto replied. Suzuka whispered, I didn't want to bother you. Only Naruto and Lan could hear her. With his trademark smile, Naruto said, really, Asahina-chan, you don't have to handle everything by yourself. I'm your friend and friends help each other out. Suzuka was hurt for an unknown reason. Come on, Suzuka, I'll walk you home while carrying this, Naruto replied. You don't have to show them Yamato and the others around? Suzuka responded. Nah, Lan can do it. He's been here longer than me. He's the city like the back of his hand, right, Lan? Replied Naruto. Sure, Naruto, I'll see ya tomorrow at school. Don't be late, Lan responded. No worries, when have I ever been late to anything? Replied Naruto. Everything. One time you were 3 hours late and gave a stupid excuse like a black cat crossed your path and you had to take the long way, Lan replied. No, if I remember correctly I said I was lost in the road to life, Naruto replied. You said both, exclaimed Lan. Suzuka laughed at the two pals. Naruto said, anyway, let's go, Asahina-chan, and took her hand in his free hand. Before beginning to move she blushed, but Naruto was unaware of it. As Naruto was walking, he noticed that Suzuka had released his hand and was moving ahead of him. Since it was awkward, Naruto struck up a discussion. Naruto asked, so you're still angry at Yamato? Suzuka angrily retorted, he said I was an ugly, fat, and rude old lady. Why wouldn't I? Naruto laughed. Suzuka screamed at Naruto, what's so funny? You think I'm fat, ugly, and rude old lady? Suzuka blushed when Naruto said, no, it's just that you're cute when you get angry. What are you talking about, baka? Blushed Suzuka. Naruto laughed again. Don't listen to him, you're cool especially when you high jump, said Naruto. Cool? Me? Inquired Suzuka. Naruto remarked, of course, who else do I know high jumps? Thanks, this is the first time someone has ever told me this, Suzuka responded. Naruto remarked, really? Well, they're stupid then. But you could be saying that because you've never seen a high jumper before, Suzuka replied. Trust me when I say you're cool, I've seen a lot of things but seeing you high jump is really cool, Naruto replied. Suzuka winked at Naruto and said, really? Because you're always casual? The conversation Suzuka had with Ayano came to mind as they strolled along. Suzuka began to draw Naruto's attention by asking, "Nay Naruto-kun?" "Nani?" inquired Naruto when Suzuka said, "Landlady told us that you do pranks." "Why? Why else would people do pranks? To make fun of someone," Naruto replied. "Yes. Landlady said that you do pranks to get attention and Miho-chan said you pranked a bully so that she wouldn't bully Miho-chan, so why?" Suzuka inquired. Naruto let out a sigh. She nodded when Naruto said, "I guess I can tell you but don't tell anyone." "Okay." Naruto paused and took a seat on the sidewalk. Naruto declared, "I was an orphan." Suzuka was taken aback. Suzuka questioned, "When did they die?" Naruto shocked Suzuka even more when he said, "When I was born." Suzuka said, "I'm sorry." Naruto waved his hand back and forth and said, "Nah, don't worry, I never even knew them so I can't really complain." Suzuka felt depressed. Naruto shocked Suzuka even more when he said, "Anyway, where I came from no one liked me. I was kicked out of the orphanage when I was 4 years old. An old man took pity in me and gave me an apartment. I realized that people did everything they could to ignore me. It felt like I didn't exist when I found a whoopee cushion and placed it on one of my teacher's seat, and when he fell for it, he found out it was me. He scolded me. It was the first time I felt like I existed, and I started doing more pranks. It started out small, then it escalated to big pranks to the point where the police came after me." Naruto described switching Anbu with the police. Suzuka questioned, "So it was all to get attention?" Recalling his past, Naruto remarked, "Yeah, I didn't really have friends until I was 12, or at least I thought I did." Suzuka said, "I'm sorry. Like I said, don't worry, I never knew who my parents were until last year. Either way, I'm glad Ayano Ka-san adopted me. Because of her I have mother that cares about me and little sister I can spoil and protect." Naruto replied. Suzuka was about to say something, but Naruto chose to interrupt her. Referring to the microwave oven, Naruto stated, "Anyway, let's go. Ka-san will get worried if we don't come home soon, and besides, I want to be there when you plug this baby in." Suzuka gave a nod, followed Naruto's lead. His past was worse than mine, Suzuka thought, and yet he can still smile. Lan was behind the corner, but they didn't know it. Looks like he's found someone special. Looking at Naruto and Suzuka discussing how Naruto's past antics had made Suzuka smile and laugh, Lan thought, now I don't have to worry that he'll be alone. Then he turned to see Yamato and Yasunobu being harassed by Megumi and Yuka. Lan laughed at the girl's antics and thought, I'm just glad he chose someone like Asahina-san and not those two. The Konoha as usual, it was a bad day for Tsunade. She had to deal with the worst nightmare of all leaders, paperwork. The only thing that distracted Tsunade from her godson Naruto was paperwork, which she detested. She began to recall what had transpired following Naruto's exile when he was brought up. Wave Country was the first event to happen. They had no desire to interact with Konoha after learning of their hero's exile. Konoha thus lost their contract with Wave. Snow Country came next. After learning about Naruto, they ceased trading new technology with Konoha altogether. At the time, Konoha was having problems. The majority of the missions they had to complete were S ranks. Even though they didn't want to, some Junins were forced to return to Anbu. Prior to signing a treaty with Kiri, Konoha was in decline. However, Kiri was more helpful to Konoha than Konoha was to Kiri. Iwa later made the decision to treat Konoha once more. Konoha was more helpful to Iwa than Iwa was to Konoha. However, Iwa and Kiri began to repay Naruto a year and a half after he left, restoring Konoha to its former splendor. However, Konoha was only a shadow of what it used to be today. It seemed as though Naruto had taken Konoha's will with him when he departed. Looking out the window, Tsunade said, "Sai, where are Naruto?" She gazed at the village through the window, then she recalled being made to tell the entire village the Kyuubi's secret. After that, everyone was relieved that Naruto had been exiled, with the exception of a few. Sakura and Ino demanded to know why she killed him for harming their Sasuke-kun, but they remained silent after Tsunade beat them up. However, after realizing how important Naruto was to Konoha's survival, they made the decision to find him. From the start, Shikamaru, Neji, Choji, and Lee were sympathetic to Naruto's plight and wanted to find him. After being beaten by Neji, Shikamaru, Lee, and Choji, Kiba began to search for him after initially wondering why he wasn't killed. Hinata remained silent, followed her father, and paid no attention to Naruto's disappearance, but she searched frantically for him while on missions. When Sasuke learned about Naruto's tenant after leaving the hospital, he insisted that they track him down and give him the Kyuubi. Tsunade assaulted him, and he was taken to the hospital. Tsunade revealed Naruto's ancestry to Konoha 12 and their sensei a year after Naruto was banished. To put it mildly, they were taken aback to learn that Naruto was the fourth Hokage's son. Wide-eyed and fainting, Kakashi repeatedly apologized and begged Naruto and his sensei for forgiveness. They now put in twice as much effort to locate Naruto, but they were unsuccessful. The entire village was aware of what was meant to be a secret between the Godem and the Rookie 11 and their senseis. The villagers were now pleading with Naruto for forgiveness, but some of them believed it to be a lie and were sent to Ibiki. Damn Gaki. The academy said he was the dead last, yet he disappeared from the face of the earth. Not even Jiraiya's network could find him. Tsunade screamed. Jiraiya exclaimed, "Yosuheim. Guess what?" as he entered through the window. As she threw a chair at him, which he avoided, Tsunade yelled, "Can't you use the door like a normal person?" "Hey, I have news about the Gaki and you were trying to kill me before I could tell it," Jiraiya screamed. "Really? Where is he?" exclaimed Tsunade with joy. Jiraiya replied, "Not really sure," Tsunade screamed, "but you said you knew his location," as she prepared to hurl a pen that enhanced chakra at his manhood. "Yes, I know, but I'm not sure if this place exists or not," Jiraiya replied. "Huh?" asked Tsunade. "He's in a village called Japan in a sector called Tokyo," Jiraiya replied. "What? Are you lying? 'Cause I swear I will castrate you. Japan doesn't exist. I've never heard of this place. Are you sure your information is correct? Is that what your informant said?" Tsunade screamed. "Yes, I'm pretty sure that's where he is, and I think that's why we couldn't find him for 2 years now, and my informant didn't actually say Japan. Tokyo, he just said he was going east. I got a map of the whole world and turns out that there is a much bigger world outside the elemental nations," Jiraiya said as he pulled out the world's map and presented it to Tsunade. Tsunade's eyes were wide. "Amazing. How could we have missed this earlier?" Tsunade was amazed. "Suheim, don't even think about trying to take over those country. They're apparently more advanced than us and they don't need ninjas to protect themselves," Jiraiya replied. "I wasn't thinking that. Anyway, we need to think of ways to get Naruto back," Tsunade screamed. "Already thought of it. From here it takes about a month to get to Tokyo and the Gaki is hard-headed like Kushina, so he won't come quietly, so I think we should send all of his friends to get him. They will be able to convince him to come home," Jiraiya responded. Tsunade nodded and shouted for Shizune to summon Sai, their senseis, and the Rookie 11. They arrived and waited for Kakashi for 4 hours. After Naruto left, he extended his hour. Tsunade grinned and said, "Okay everyone, we have new information on Naruto's whereabouts." This caught everyone's attention. "Where is he?" exclaimed Hinata, Shikamaru, Kaba, Tenten, Lee, Neji, and Kakashi. "He is in a place called Japan Tokyo. I will be sending all of you to go convince him to come home," Tsunade replied. Shikamaru questioned, "What if he doesn't want to come back?" "He will definitely return. Where else could he live?" screamed Sakura Banshee. Sasuke sneered, "I agree. Dobi has nowhere else to go. Once we go there, he'll come running back to us." Shikamaru thought, "That's not what I wanted to know." Everyone nodded when Tsunade said, "If he doesn't come willingly, bring him back by force but do not kill him." Sai thought, "I have to tell Danzo-sama about this. Alright, pack up for 2 months. It will take at least 1 month to get there and 1 month to at least try to convince him to come back." Jiraiya responded. With a nod, everyone departed. Yes. We'll be together as we were meant to be, Naruto-kun, Hinata pondered. A troublesome blonde, however, things will return to their previous state. Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba, and Neji pondered. Yosh. We'll be able to get together once more, my youthful rival, Lee pondered. That Baka will return when I arrive, Ino and Sakura pondered. Jiraiya thought, I'm glad I don't have to go to the afterlife and get hell from Kushina. Akatsuki, a blurry figure of a black and white plant-like humanoid, said, Leader-sana, we have the location of the Kyuubi. Thank you Zetsu. I want Itachi and Kisame to go after the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, bring him back alive so we don't lose the Biju. The leader of Akatsuki replied. Itachi and Kisame both said, Hi, hey Zetsu, how did you find the Kyuubi's location? He disappeared from the world for 2 years. I doubt he would yell out where his position is, Kisame responded. That right, the village fangirls were shouting it all over the village, said Zetsu. Hey Itachi, are you sure you came from Konoha? The ninjas are just bad at keeping village secrets as the Hachibi Jinchuriki in Kumo, Kisame replied. Itachi said coldly, Konoha wasn't what it was before. Kisame remarked, you got that right, enough Itachi, Kisame you have your jobs. Sasori and Deidara watch the Ichibi, Kakuzu and Hidan bring more money for the organization. Zetsu keeps spying on the whereabouts of the Kyuubi. We will need all the information we can get, that is all, the leader concluded. Everyone yelled, Hi Leader Sama, and the holographic figures vanished. Japan's Tokyo, Aunt Ayano, I'm heading to school, exclaimed Yamato. Ayano shouted at Yamato, Yamato-kun, did you take your handkerchief? And button up your shirt? Oni-chan, hurry up. Suzuka Ne-chan already gone ahead, Miho yelled. Coming, exclaimed Yamato as he overtook Suzuka and Miho. He surveyed the area. Ne, where's Naruto-kun? I didn't see him at breakfast, Yamato responded. He's either walking around or went to set up his first day of school prank, said Miho. Oh no, Suzuka and Yamato were both afraid they might be the target. Both Yamato and Suzuka did everything in their power to avoid upsetting or offending him after learning about his antics. At school later, Suzuka remarked, So Yamato-san is in class C with me. What is that a problem? Exclaimed Yamato. Suzuka turned her head and said, No. Yasunobu yelled, You two are in class C? Same here? Glancing at the rooster, Yamato asked, Where's Naruto-san's name? His eyes widened. Suzuka was intrigued and delighted when Yamato exclaimed, He's in the same class as us. Even though she was unaware of this, Suzuka was experiencing strange feelings for Naruto following the microwave incident and discovering more about his past. However, she would dismiss them, claiming that she needed to focus on her high jumping. Yasunobu exclaimed, That's bad, he's going to prank all of us, as his face lost all of its color. He hasn't done anything and I don't even see him here, so stop worrying, Yamato replied. Afterwards, shopping? Inquired Yamato. My club activities are ending soon for today, so wait for me, Suzuka replied. Yamato questioned, why me? The senpais in the club told me to buy a dozen drinks, but the one who was supposed to go with me isn't here. Don't tell me you have something to do? Suzuka responded. Yeah, I kinda do. Lan-san invited me to his house to see Mega Man and I was really hoping to see him. Besides, ask Naruto-san, Yamato replied. Suzuka responded, I would, but I haven't seen him all day. Yamato pointed to the door of their classroom and asked, Isn't that him over there? Naruto appeared to be exhausted and on the verge of passing out. Yamato ran up to Naruto and asked, Naruto-san, are you okay? Naruto looked away. Naruto replied, Yeah, just peachy. Suzuka remarked, You don't look so good. Naruto replied, Yeah, had a nightmare and was up all night. Oh, I think you should go. Suzuka couldn't complete. Naruto changed the topic and said, Hey, I heard what you were saying about buying drinks, right? I'll go with you after school, right? After giving a nod, Suzuka went to speak with some girls who were standing next to the classroom. Suzuka said, Then I'll see you after school. Naruto entered and said, Okay, come on Yamato. Let's go unless you want the worst seats in the class. Naruto asked Yamato, So are you ready to see something that will light up that depressed face yours? Yamato asked fearfully, You mean you already have the prank set up? Naruto left to speak with Lan, saying, Don't worry, the prank isn't aimed at you, it's mostly aimed at the teacher. All the teachers are all boring, so I decided to give them a makeover. Now Yamato was sitting by himself, contemplating his surroundings. He understood that there was someone to talk to and that everyone in the class knew one another even on the first day of school. Yasunobu was interacting with others. Reality is brutal. Yamato reflected. A girl with long black hair approached Yamato and said, "Why Yamato-kun, I didn't realize that we were in the same class." Yamato said, Who are you? You don't remember? That secret? I guess I haven't introduced myself. I'm Sakurai Hinoka, Hinoka replied. At the entrance as she searched for Naruto, Suzuka remarked, I haven't discussed about the locations with Naruto-kun about where to meet me. Naruto appeared to be joking while speaking with Lan. Suzuka visited Naruto. Suzuka said, Naruto-kun. Naruto said, Hey Asahina-chan, what do you need? Suzuka said, I would like to talk about where we can meet after school. Naruto said, Okay, so where? Suzuka said, Can you meet me in front of school? Naruto smiled and turned to face Yamato, saying, For you anything Asahina-chan. Naruto asked Suzuka, Hey Asahina-chan, do you know who that girl is that's talking with Yamato? Suzuka responded, No, I've never seen her. That's Hinoka Sakurai. We went to the same middle school together. She was even in our class. How can you forget her? Lan responded. Well, sorry, but she seems like the quiet type and oddly reminds me of my former stalker, so I guess that's why I can't remember her, said Naruto. Suzuka was upset that Naruto had a stalker for some reason but then disregarded, believing that it was merely safeguarding Naruto. Yeah, it's a surprise that she's actually talking to him, Yasunobu replied. Lan, Naruto, and Suzuka questioned, Huh? In middle school she never talked to boys, so seeing her talk to Yamato is actually a surprise, said Yasunobu. As he walked in, the teacher said, Okay, everyone, sit down. He was struck by a pie. He was about to demand to know who did it when he removed the pie chunks from him, but as he got to his desk, he felt a tripwire. A bag fell on him. As he stumbled, the instructor began to scratch all over his body because he was itchy. Screaming, he fled the room. Everyone was giggling, Suzuka, too, although he was amused. Yasunobu was relieved that he was not the target of the practical joke. A substitute sensei arrived, looked around, and inquired as to whether anyone knew who had pulled the prank. Yasunobu was about to identify it as Naruto, but he remained silent as Naruto directed his ki at him. Suzuka needed him after school, so she didn't respond. Yamato was afraid because he didn't want to be the target of a revenge prank. Lan was also accountable, so he didn't want to. Following school, Suzuka was outside in front of the school. After completing her club activities, she searched the area for Naruto, but he was nowhere to be found. Suzuka yelled, He must have left. Sai, looks like I have to go eat. As Naruto appeared out of nowhere and he was giggling at her look. Ha 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 ha, got you, exclaimed Naruto. Suzuka screamed, That's not funny. How did you come out of nowhere? Naruto remarked, I have my ways. All Suzuka did was puff up her cheeks. Suzuka shouted, That's it. You're going to carry all drinks. Naruto simply smiled. While strolling to the grocery store with Suzuka, Naruto laughed and said, Fine by me. Those that have finished the first test, please get ready for the next one. Hurry, don't waste time. Sign up with 2 people to form a team, said the megaphone-wielding instructor. Yamato exclaimed joyfully, Hee, physical test. It's my turn to shine. Please. Besides, why are you so psyched? I thought you lived in a casual life? Yasunobu replied. Yamato pointed to himself and said, Hey, I can get fired up anytime I want. Also, my physical strength was the best during middle school. You scared now, are you? Oh really? Whatever, I'm going to the jump over there since it's empty, Yasunobu replied. Yamato shouted, Hey, the vertical jump is empty as well. Yasunobu remarked, What does it matter which one? Before turning to face the direction of the vertical leap and witnessing Suzuka pushing Hinoka's back. Yasunobu grinned and said, Oh, that's why? You're becoming a pervert, you know. Yamato stated, I'm not. Besides, Naruto likes Suzuka. I wasn't talking about Suzuka, I was talking about Hinoka. She's cute, isn't she? Maybe she'll go out with me, Yasunobu replied. No, exclaimed Yamato. Yasunobu said, Huh? Oh, you like her? No, I'm just protecting her from people like you. Damn, I wish Naruto-san was here, he would shut you up, Yamato fumed. Hee, whatever, but now that you mention Naruto, where is he? I didn't see him or Lan in class, Yasunobu replied. Yeah, I didn't see him at breakfast today either. Wonder where he is, replied Yamato. Suzuka approached Yamato and Yasunobu while Hinoka trailed behind, saying, If you're talking about Naruto-kun and Lan-san, they're doing jobs for the teachers. Yamato questioned, did he get caught for his prank 2 days ago? According to Yasunobu, that's good. Why is that good? Inquired Yamato. Cause he deserves it for all the hell he caused and causes, Yasunobu replied. Yamato was about to respond, but he was unable to support Naruto. They all agreed and proceeded to the vertical jump after Yasunobu said, Okay, let's go to the vertical jump and finish all these tests. Yasunobu said, all right, Suzuka-chan first. Suzuka nodded as she approached the board with the scale, leaned over to the chalk dust box, and touched it later. She prepared to jump and did so. Yasunobu whispered to Yamato, hey, sit down, Yamato questioned, why? Yasunobu pulled Yamato down and said, just do it. When Yamato eventually took a seat, he understood Yasunobu's motivation. Suzuka's shirt lifted slightly as he watched her jump, revealing her bra-covered breasts. Yamato was blushing when Yanobu said, see? Sitting down and watching is better. Yamato thought, oh my god, Naruto is going to kill me. Hinoka exclaimed, that was amazing Suzuka-chan. Suzuka returned and said, now it's Sakurai's turn. Oh, I'm too embarrassed to go after you. Why don't you go next to Akatsuki-kun? Hinoka replied. Yamato said confidently, Amy? Alright, watch carefully, Asahina-san is nothing. Hinoka and Yasunobu were applauding him. Suzuka grinned and asked, confident aren't you? With a shout, watch the strength of middle school no one. Yamato leapt to a height of 72.5 centimeters. Yamato yelled back, see that? But Hinoka only encouraged him. Suzuka and Yasunobu were staring at him as if he were a fool. Really, even Suzuka-chan got 84 centimeters. Seriously, where were you looking? Replied Yasunobu. I wasn't looking anywhere. Exclaimed Yamato. Yasunobu patted Yamato on the back and said, don't worry, maybe this is how good people are in the country. Hey, don't insult Tay countryside, exclaimed Yamato. Yasunobu leapt to the same height as Suzuka 84 cm and declared, whatever, it's my turn. Yes, same as Suzuka-chan, exclaimed Yasunobu. Hey, whimpered Suzuka. Honka exclaimed, that was amazing Yasunobu-san, before turning to face a sullen Yamato. Yamato shouted, that's it, the next one is the one I'm really good at. After 45 minutes, Yamato said sadly, I couldn't beat Yasunobu at anything. Yasunobu jokingly asked, yo, how come you're aging so fast, Oji-san? Well, who asked you to transfer to a school that has a reputation for its sports? Suzuka replied with a scowl. Yasunobu joked to Suzuka, that's enough, Oji-san is almost dead. Suzuka looked at Yasunobu's record and remarked, by the way, I'm shocked at Yasunobu-san's score, you should join a club. Yasunobu exclaimed, no way, impossible. Suzuka questioned, why is that? Because there are people that are better than me, all I'd be doing is make an embarrassment of myself, Yasunobu replied. Yamato remarked, you're too busy chasing after girls. Yasunobu said, shut up, Mr. Number 1 in from the countryside. Yamato shouted, stop saying that. Next is the 50 meters sprinting. Do you have confidence in that, Yamato? Suzuka asked. Yamato replied, not at all. Hinoka questioned, you're giving up already? Yasunobu asked, why are getting less confidently by the minute? A voice behind them asked, yeah, what happened to the energetic boy that left this morning? They noticed Naruto and Lan when they turned around. To be truthful, I was never confident in sprinting before 5th grade. 1 was always champion once I even entered a live broadcast track and field event. Since our middle school didn't have any track and field team, we just chose 4 random guys from class. Curious, Suzuka asked, and the result? The laughing stock of the whole event. After that I never entered another sprint competition, Yamato murmured. Naruto reassured him, oh, don't worry about that. I bet you'll do great. Hinoka supported Naruto by saying, yeah, what Naruto-san said. In the field, Suzuka remarked, just look at him, I can't bear to watch him. Don't worry, just watch, Oji-san will do something amazing, said Yasunobu. Yeah, but his opponent is Kobayakawa. He was guaranteed a spot in this school because of his sprinting, Lan replied. Yasunobu remarked, that just makes things more interesting. Get ready, exclaimed the instructor. Yamato began to rocket. Suzuka remarked, Yamato is a rocket starter? Yasunobu remarked, maybe he's just doing it thinking he'll go faster. Naruto remarked, I doubt he actually believes that. Yamato reasoned, I think I'll go faster if I use both feet. Ready, exclaimed the instructor. Hinoka cheered for him, and Yamato heard his opponent cheer as well. Go, shouted the instructor. It's too late to give up now. I must try my hardest. As he ran, Yamato closed his eyes and began ahead of Kobayakawa, which astounded Suzuka. Kobayakawa had started to grovel by the end of the race. 5 seconds 93, exclaimed the teacher, astounded by his quickness. Is that good? Inquired Yamato. Hey, you're really quick to join our club, a voice from the crowd exclaimed. No, he should ours, exclaimed a second person. Yasunobu questioned, "Are you surprised that he was that fast?" Suzuka managed to ask, "How did you know he was?" "That's because when we were young the first person to get out of trouble was him," Yasunobu replied. With a bored tone, Naruto remarked, I've seen faster. I know someone who can do that in a split second." "Nobody could do that," exclaimed Yasunobu. Naruto said, "There is." Yasunobu was about to respond when Yamato returned. Yamato exclaimed, "Hey, did you see that? Yamato-kun, that was incredible," exclaimed Hinoka. The teacher called out, "Naruto Fujikawa and Kun Yokimaru come to the field." Naruto remarked, "Looks like it's my turn." Yasunobu remarked, "Hey, there's no way you can beat that." "Good luck, Naruto-san," exclaimed Hinoka. Lan said, "Be normal and be easy on him." Naruto remarked, "Ha ha ha, you know I can't do that." Lan received perplexed looks from everyone around them as they said, "Sigh, whatever. If people want to do experiments on you, don't call me." When Naruto said, "Whatever, I can take off myself. I have ever since I was 4 inches." Hinoka and Yasunobu gave him confused looks and receiving a dejected expression from Lan and Suzuka. As he watched Naruto leave, Lan remarked, "Yeah, that's true." "All right. Ready," exclaimed the instructor. Naruto launched himself into the air. Suzuka exclaimed, "He's a rocket start as well?" Yasunobu remarked, "Maybe he's copying Yamato." "No, he has lots of style. He just uses rocket start the most because it lowers his speed," Lan replied. Yasunobu remarked, "That's just stupid." "Well, once you see what he does you're going to be relieved that he decides to go slow," Lan replied. "Set, go," shouted the instructor. Naruto had already crossed the finish line when everyone blinked. "Everyone is staring at you." 2 seconds 99. The instructor stammered. Naruto shouted, "Damn, could have gone slower." Yasunobu screamed, Is that even possible?" "Ichi beat me," exclaimed Yamato. Incredible," exclaimed Hinoka. "Thaw." Suzuka was too startled to finish the sentence. Lan remarked, "Yeah, done intense training." Naruto approached them. Naruto remarked, "Looks like I'm going to be tested on, aren't I?" "Yep, but don't worry, just shove a Rasengan to their gut and you'll be fine," Lan replied. Naruto grinned and said, "Yeah, that's true." He then turned to face his sides. Naruto questioned, "What's wrong? Got something on my face?" Yasunobu pointed and said, "Why you that?" "Yeah, what about it? Once you go through my training that points at the field is easy," Naruto replied. As Lan was called, they were unable to question him, which caused everyone's eyes to widen once more as he received 4 seconds and 3. Naruto claimed he was merely bragging. Suzuka blushed and gave Naruto a shocked look, but she was unaware of it. Suzuka's perspective: as I watched Naruto peacefully doze off on his desk, it was pouring outside. Even though I hate to admit it, his whisker marks made him look adorable. I wonder if those are scars or birthmarks. I became aware that I was constantly staring at him after last week's physical exam. He claims that was the slowest he could go, even though he had run faster than anyone else. If he went all out, I wanted to know how fast he would be. I became even more interested after Lan-san informed me that I wouldn't like the response. However, I was unable to resist. He was enigmatic. Additionally, I observed that he would leave early in the morning and return up the stairs when I went outside for breakfast. I simply assumed that, as he stated on the day of the physical exam, he had undergone intense training. I only know that he was never introduced to his biological parents. Since he was 4 years old, he has been left alone and treated like a sick person. I occasionally noticed Naruto changing topics when discussing his past. Additionally, he always has a dejected expression when discussing his former pals. Perhaps he misplaced them. He is exactly like me, losing significant individuals. He had no one until he met Miho and the landlady, but I had people who supported me. I might know, after what happened to Senpei, I am unable to. I returned to taking notes after realizing that Naruto was staring at me and blushing. Naruto's perspective: I was exhausted from all that training. It's unbelievable that my Kekkei Genkei still gets the better of me. However, I don't want to use it because it gives me headaches every time. What was said by Kyuubi? Did he not mention that when I use it, the chakra collects at my head, causing my nerves to become strained? It's better than my eyes bleeding. At least Suzuka was staring at me when I turned to look at her. What's the matter with her? Do I have drool on my face or am I making a funny face? She returned her focus to her notes as soon as she realized I was staring at her. I'm in love with a civilian. Which is unbelievable. I've always believed that a kunoichi like my mother would make me fall in love. She's still like your mother, except she's less of a threat since she doesn't have chakra, Kyuubi replied. Wouldn't that be detrimental? What happens if Konoha shows up and takes her hostage? I questioned Kyubi. Even if that happens, which it won't, you can just wipe their existence. The Kekkei Genkai I gave you will make sure of that, Kyubi replied. That's accurate. I concurred. Kyubi shuddered at his memories and remarked, besides, believe me when I say that you're lucky she doesn't know how to use her chakra. You don't want to know how a chakra kick to your manhood feels. That made me shudder too. What specifically did my mother do to you? I inquired. Kyubi stated, things that is best not mentioning. Then I suppose I'm fortunate. What matters most, though, is how she feels about me. She has been turning her head away from me every time she looks at me for the past week, I told Kyubi. And she never asks for help like she did in the beginning. Now she just drags Yamato around. Well, from what your vixen of a mother said, she is hardcore high jumper. I think she believes that having love will get in her way of training, Kyubi replied. I doubt. I couldn't finish and the tear said, Fujikawa-san, please answer question 9 inches. I examined the query and sought assistance from Kyubi. I repeated what Kyubi had said. Sigh, it's 49. Take the x to the other side and divide the right side by 69. I said to Kyubi, thank you. Kyubi simply nodded. Suzuka had already left when class ended, but I wasn't supposed to speak with her. My usual location, which was outside next to a tree, was where I wanted to go. However, I was unable to do so due to the rain. Thus, I remained seated and gazed out the window while conversing with Kyubi about various topics, such as how awesome it would be to have a talking sword or how the existence of ninjas and chakras would be received by the general public. We joked that we could conquer Japan and vanquish all of their armies in a matter of minutes. I could have a harem, Kyubi continued, and silence Yasunobu about legalizing polygamy. Students entered the room one by one after lunch was over. Suzuka, Hinoka, Lan, Yamato, and Yasunobu were the final ones. I noticed Suzuka staring at me once more as they sat down, and she repeated her previous action before turning back to face the board. Sign. What did I do to get her to stay away from me? I was going to ask myself, but Kyubi overheard. I don't think you did anything so far. The only thing you did that would piss her off would be when we went shopping together for the welcome party. No, the way she's looking at you and avoiding you can only mean one thing, Kyubi responded. What? I inquired. Kyubi remarked, she likes you. What? I exclaimed aloud. The instructor asked, is there something wrong, Fujikawa-san? Oh no. Standard POV. All eyes were on Naruto when the teacher said, is there something wrong, Fujikawa-san? Sweating, Naruto said, Anya, as he turned to see Lan pointing at the board and realized what he meant. Ah yes, there is, sir. The problem is what you wrote in the board. It's wrong, Naruto replied. The instructor remarked, really I don't see any. Lan supported Naruto's original statement by saying, sir, there is a problem. The grammar is totally wrong and you forgot a comma there in the middle of the paragraph, as well as there are 2 spelling mistakes. What are you? Oh, thank you, Furukawa-san and Hikari-san. I guess I did. Thank you, the instructor responded. With a sigh of relief, Naruto gave Lan the thumbs up. Suzuka surveyed the area. What causes Naruto-kun to have such strange outbursts every time? Suzuka pondered. When class finally ended, Naruto was talking to Lan about his earlier outburst. He didn't give all the details, just that Kyubi said something perverted and he just yelled out. Lan knew there was more and was about to ask again when a girl called for him. Lan-kun, do you want to accompany me home? Male Sakurai, a girl with red hair, said. No, she and Hinoka are not related. No thanks, I'll go with Naruto. However, Naruto pushed him before he could finish. Leave. This is your opportunity to connect and learn more about your crush, Naruto muttered. How about you? Lan responded in a whisper. Go. Who cares? Naruto grinned back and said, a chance like this comes only once in a lifetime. Lan nodded and went to mail. Returning to his desk, Naruto gazed out the window. Excellent. Why must it rain right now? Naruto didn't address anyone specifically. Hey, Gaki, what are you up to? Kyubi exclaimed. Nothing, Naruto replied. You are aware that you cannot deceive me, Kyubi said. Tell me what happened. I've been experiencing childhood nightmares, the glares, the crowds, and all the beatings. I didn't have them for 2 years, but they suddenly showed up out of the blue, Naruto said aloud, assuming that Kyubi was the only person listening, but he was mistaken. Someone was observing him. That's accurate. Have you considered it a premonition, though? Kyubi exclaimed. Primo a what? Confused, Naruto said. Foresight. It's a powerful sense that something significant is about to occur, Kyubi clarified. And why would I have those? I'm never going back to that hellhole after banishing me. Why the FK should I? And I like here. I have a family. Actual friends that care about me, no dumbass villagers calling me demon or glaring at me for something neither you nor I had control over, and then the best part of all, no gay Uchiha and his banshee fangirl followers, and no weird fainting girls stalking me everywhere I go, Naruto continued. That's true, especially the last two parts, but still you can't ignore this. Maybe it could relate to Akatsuki, replied Kyuubi. Naruto grabbed his bag and headed to the front foyer, saying, "It doesn't matter, I'll deal with that when I get there anyway, let's go. I don't think this rain is going to let up, so there's no point in waiting." He opened his shoe cabinet and dropped his on the floor. Naruto thought to himself, what a terrible day to forget an umbrella. Naruto-kun, why are you in this place? When someone spoke, Naruto turned to see Suzuka. Asahina-chan? Why are you in this place? Naruto inquired. According to Suzuka, I asked first. Oh, I see. Since I didn't have an umbrella, I waited for the rain to stop. However, Naruto pointed to the door and said, as you can see. You neglected to pack your umbrella. If so, would you mind sharing with me? Naruto was taken aback when Suzuka asked, especially since she was attempting to avoid him. Are you sure, really? Don't you have a track to complete, after all? Naruto uttered those words. Yes, I'm certain. I've already finished. It's okay because we share an apartment, Suzuka said. Thank you, Asahina-chan. Suzuka blushed at the touch, and Naruto yelled as he embraced her like a bear. It's all right, Suzuka said. Just let me go. All right, allow me to hold the umbrella here. As Suzuka gave him her umbrella, Naruto uttered those words. Outside, an awkward silence hung over Naruto and Suzuka as they strolled down the sidewalk to the bathhouse. Sue, how did track go? Was it enjoyable? Naruto began a conversation by asking. Was all Naruto could manage. There's a lot of wind, Naruto repeated. Perhaps it will be hotter tomorrow. He received the same response. What Kyuubi said about liking me is a lie, and she's totally ignoring me, Naruto thought. Suzuka said, seemingly in a trance, Naruto-kuna runs really fast. Naruto was taken aback by her statement. Oh, I see. That is insignificant. I know someone who can run faster than me. As I previously stated, was I really that cool, though? Naruto grinned as he spoke. Suzuka said, Naruto blushed upon seeing her face, and he thought she was lovely, especially with her hair blown to the sides by the wind. She's so, but before Naruto could finish thinking, a strong gust of wind caused him to let go of the umbrella, which led Suzuka to approach him. Both Naruto and Suzuka were drenched because they were without umbrellas, and Suzuka was giving him a sort of hug. At night, Naruto thought, she hasn't spoken to me since then. I wonder if she hates me. Kyuubi said, Kid, I think you should train more. Yeah, but I don't think I can concentrate after what happened today, Naruto remarked after hearing Miho call for him to dinner. He got out of bed and went to the dining room, where he noticed that they had already begun eating. He was about to enter when he heard his name, so he chose to remain hidden. Did you give Naruto-kun a call, Miho? Ayano inquired. Miho replied, Yep. Suzuka gave a achoo sneeze. Suzuka-chan, do you have a fever? Megumi inquired. Yamato replied, Yeah, you came home all soaked. Suzuka said, I'm fine. Have you not brought an umbrella? Have you not used it? Miho inquired. Naruto-kun forgot his umbrella, but yes, I did so. We both went home. I didn't want to listen to him lament his cold in any case, Suzuka remarked. We both got soaked when the umbrella blew off in the wind. It was not worth your trouble, Yuka remarked. I should have let him walk by himself. Huh? Suzuka declared. That brat has never fallen ill, even last winter, when he stood outside for 10 hours, Yuka remarked. That's true. Nini has never gotten a cold, Miho replied. Really? That's incredible. Yamato uttered those words. Yuka remarked, Yup, he is really a freak. Naruto simply went to his room because he didn't want to be the center of attention. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed early. I think so. That perverted girl wouldn't bother me today, Naruto told himself. 2 minutes later, he was still unable to fall asleep because his thoughts were too focused on the events of the afternoon. Then, he heard a knocking, which he was about to ignore because he thought it was Yuka, but it persisted until Naruto became agitated. I'm trying to go to sleep, so don't bother me, Yuka. As he opened the door, Naruto yelled, shocked to see that it was Suzuka, not Yuka, who was knocking. Asahina. What do you want? Naruto said in an odd voice. What's up with that tone? Suzuka said, I just brought you dinner. Naruto removed the tray from her hands and said, Thanks I guess. There was a bowl of rice, salad, egg shake, and boiled eggs on the plate. I prepared the boiled eggs and the egg shake. Don't share what happened today with anyone, Suzuka said. All right, however, you were the one who told everyone about it, Naruto remarked. Suzuka said, Thina, that's fine. What are your true desires? Naruto squinted as he spoke. You were so thick, just arg. Please don't tell anyone that I gave you a hug. As she slammed the door behind her, Suzuka said. Naruto remarked, okay, yeah, that was weird. Yes, it was. Kyuubi said, you should absolutely ravage her. Why do you keep raping girls? Naruto shouted. Naruto grabbed the egg shake and said, whatever, let's just eat. This is good. As he ate the fried eggs, Naruto said, let's try them. They tasted raw, but they were cooked. Arrrgg. It tastes uncooked. Naruto shouted in a forest somewhere. So, Itachi, what are we going to do once we find the Kyuubi brat? Kisame inquired. I'm still considering one, but since we won't be seeing him for 3 weeks, we'll have time to come up with one, Itachi stated emotionlessly. It's true, however, in order to prevent him from fleeing from us, Kisame declared, I'm going to chop off his legs this time. I'm incredibly bored. On the roof of the school, Naruto shouts. Lan said, well, study or something. No way. Naruto exclaimed, studying is more boring. Lan was about to respond when they heard Yamato. Naruto-san. Yamato shouted, what is Yamato? Naruto inquired. Asahina-sana. Yamato uttered as he struggled to breathe. How about her? Concerned for his crush, Naruto inquired. A boy with glasses asked her out and she agreed, said Yamato. What? Crushed that Suzuka had feelings for someone else, Naruto asked. Oh no. This can't be happening, Naruto screamed to himself. Have I not told you? You ought to have scolded her and claimed her as your own. Naruto wanted to call Kyuubi a pervert, but he had an audience waiting for him. Kyuubi yelled angrily. It makes no difference. Naruto put on a false smile and said, as long as she's happy, so am I. Buddha, Yamato started, it makes no difference. Stop talking about it. Yamato, who was walking home with Naruto, saw this and felt sorry for the boy and guilty that he couldn't help Naruto get together with Suzuka. They stopped when they saw Goru and another white-furred cat cuddling. Naruto yelled as he made his way to class, distracted throughout the day by the fact that Suzuka liked another boy and that he had no choice but to accept that. When school ended, he had his head down in sadness, thinking it was over. Damn you, Goru, are you trying to show off now? Yamato and Naruto both grabbed Goru to separate the two couples, but they stopped when they heard Suzuka and a man wearing spectacles laughing from the building's stairs. Naruto thought, so this is the guy that Asahina-chan picked. I should kill him, thinks this with an evil grin. Yamato thought, that's the 4 eyes that Suzuka is going out with, but Goru had scratched his hands and screamed in agony, revealing their presence. Naruto-kun? You mean Yamato-kun? Surprised, Suzuka said. Yamato responded, why yeah. Naruto was staring at the boy with the 4 eyes. So, you two are Akatsuki-kun and Fujikawa-kun? The glasses boy said, Asahina told me about you guys. What? Does he want to fight? Yamato asked himself, it's obvious that we're going to win because it's 2 against 1. As a second-year member of the track and field team, my name is Miyamoto Tsuchi, the now-known Miyamoto said, and I came here to ask you to join our team. What? Naruto and Yamato both uttered those words. Suzuka remarked from her seat, I told him I knew you guys, so he told me to come together with to ask you guys to join. Together? So that was why? Yamato inquired, yes, it would be difficult for either of you to join if I had asked a stranger on my own since we attended the same middle school. I invited Asahina to join, Miyamoto stated. I understand, then welcome, said Naruto. Yamato replied, yeah, welcome. So, are you going to come? Miyamoto inquired. Yamato and Naruto each said, not joining, not a chance in hell. Huh? However, I believe you both have the ability to be sprinters, Miyamoto remarked. As he left Suzuka, Miyamoto, and Naruto alone, Yamato said, sorry, but I think there was something wrong with the 50-meter record. He then went upstairs to his room. Sorry, but I don't like to be the center of attention anymore, Naruto replied. Miyamoto turned to Suzuka after being surprised that the two refused to join. It appears that today is not going well. I'll have to ask again later, Miyamoto grinned. Aha, senpai, was Suzuka's halting response. Well, when I first saw him, I knew that. Miyamoto waved and said, that he's the kind you like. Well? Confused, Naruto asked. Wha? Exclaimed Suzuka. Miyamoto left Naruto and Suzuka alone, saying, see ya later, Fujikawa-kun. Facing Suzuka, Naruto said, hey, I'm your type? Suzuka screamed, of course not, Baka. as she struck Naruto in the face with her bag. Does that imply that she is fond of me? Naruto pondered. Suzuka exclaimed in fear. Ah, are you okay, Naruto-kun? Naruto remarked, that's really effective, gosh, I dropped my guard. The following day Naruto exclaimed, damn it's pouring out there, as he peered out the window. It's been raining a lot lately, maybe something bad will happen, Ayano replied. Without realizing it, Naruto uttered, maybe it's one of those premonitions that Kyuubi said. Miho, Suzuka, and Yamato asked in confusion, Kyuubi? Naruto and Ayano were both in a panic. Yeah, Kyuubi, a friend from online, he uses that as a username. I've been talking to him lately, Naruto sighed. Miho remarked, you don't have a computer ni. Naruto replied, yeah, I use the ones in Lan's house. Suzuka said as she left, ah okay, thanks for the food. You're welcome. Hey Miho-chan, can you please close the bathhouse? Ayano replied. Miho questioned, okay, but isn't that Yamato-kun's job? Ayano said, please take him as well. Miho pulled Yamato's arm while nodding. Ayano looked at Naruto when the room was empty and they were the only two people left. You need to be careful of what you say, otherwise your secret isn't going to be a secret anymore, Ayano warned. Naruto remarked, I know Ka-san, it just slipped. Ayano let out a sigh. Maybe the recent rainy days has been a premonition, Ayano speculated. After saying goodnight to his mother, Naruto left the room and headed to his room, saying, stop that, nothing bad is going to happen. The room of Naruto landed on his back and remarked, life sure sucks. Naruto stared at the roof and remarked, it's unbelievable that I became so envious when I saw Asahina-chan with 4 eyes. The lights abruptly went out. Naruto got out of bed and asked, what happened? A blackout. Then there was a loud crash from the shattered wall. Suzuka remarked, I hate this, I can't see anything. Naruto questioned, Asahina-chan, what are you doing? Suzuka blushed and said, Naruto-kun, I would like to borrow a match or a lighter if you have any. Of course, but you sure know how to make an entrance next time, say dynamic entry. That's what I always say, Naruto replied. I fell in here, besides that what's with the blackout? Suzuka replied. Maybe the electric cable got blown away by the wind, Naruto replied. Suzuka shouted, can't you do something? What are you, scared or something? Don't worry, I was too when I was a kid, replied Naruto. Suzuka said, embarrassed, and no, of course not, it's just that without electricity I can't watch TV or do any homework. Naruto remarked, then go to sleep, you're tired aren't you? I can't, not until I finish my homework, if I don't then I'm going to get scolded by the teacher, Suzuka replied. Naruto asked, clearly recalling that the teacher had not assigned any homework, was there even homework? And even if he had, Lan would have called him at least 50 times to remind him to complete it. Suzuka shouted, just find a way to light up the room. Yeah, I have 10 matches in case of emergency, Naruto replied. Oh, if we use all of them then it will feel like Christmas, exclaimed Suzuka. Hold your horses, just wait while I go light up the candles, said Naruto. The room had the atmosphere of a haunted house once he had lit every candle. Naruto said, woo, this is more creepy than before, in a spectral voice. Suzuka exclaimed, ah, blow them out, blow them out. How does this even look like Christmas? You brought up Christmas, Naruto thought. I really have to rely on myself, isn't this adorable? Gazing at the tiny candle she had brought from her room, Suzuka said. So you had your own candle and had me waste 10 of mine, said Naruto. This is an aromatic candle, not just any candle. It smells good, Suzuka remarked. Naruto remarked, aromatic candle? Girls like that stuff, who knew? The same person here was unaware that girls enjoyed such things. However, my prior hosts were both tomboys, so my understanding of girls is out of date, Kyuubi remarked. Naruto laughed and remarked, that's true, my mom would rather die than do anything girly. According to Kyuubi, agreed. When Naruto heard the wind blowing, he was startled out of his reverie. After noticing that Suzuka was approaching him, Naruto exclaimed, wow, the wind is blowing really hard. Aren't you terrified? Naruto grinned and remarked, you're even getting closer to me? I'm not, this is where I was always sitting, Suzuka remarked, averting her gaze from Naruto. Naruto replied, yeah. Suzuka was now clinging to Naruto as if her life depended on it as more wind blew against the windows. You are aware that the wind is simply blowing against the window, correct? Thus, you must be afraid, Naruto remarked. I'm not, that's Allah, I just tripped, so, don't misunderstand. Suzuka shouted. Naruto thought, it's kind of cute that she's acting like this normally, she's stoic and almost emotionless, but now I'm actually seeing Asahina Suzuka's feminine side. Without warning, Suzuka uttered, I always dislike them. Huh? Naruto inquired. It seems like my older sister doesn't like the weather, typhoons, or dark places. I'm by her side all the time because of that, Suzuka remarked. You have a sister who is older. This is the first time I've heard of it, Naruto inquired. Indeed, she is 1 year older than I am. However, it is my responsibility to look after her because she is incapable of doing anything on her own, Suzuka remarked. Really? Sounds like they're completely different, Naruto remarked. Yes, just like when she misplaced her shampoo. Where do you believe the shampoo ended up? Hello, are you paying attention? Suzuka declared. As Suzuka told him all of her sister's shortcomings, Naruto was preoccupied with his thoughts about the Suzuka in front of him and responded, Yeah, I am. How about you? Suzuka's words startled him out of his reverie. Huh? Naruto inquired. How about you, apart from Miho-chan? Do you have any other siblings? Suzuka inquired. Remember that I was an orphan? Naruto uttered those words. Oh, I completely forgot. Apologies, Suzuka remarked, clearly recalling. Avoid being even though we were never blood relatives. I can tell that I had brothers and sisters, Naruto remarked. Who were they? Suzuka inquired. Konohamaru and his group are there. I always wanted them like little brothers and sisters. It began because they always looked up to me. Iruka-sensei, who was like an older brother to me, comes next. Additionally, Gigi served as my surrogate grandfather. He was the one who gave me my apartment when I was a child. By the way, then there was my presumed best friend, who I mistakenly believed to be a brother but who actually betrayed me, Naruto remarked. Betrayer? What are you saying? Suzuka inquired, but the lights returned. Well, it appears that the lights are back on. Naruto pushed Suzuka to her room, saying, You don't have to be afraid anymore. Suzuka wanted to know more, but she gave in and returned to her room. Naruto said out loud, Sigh, I said way too much. He thought Suzuka couldn't hear, but she could. What specifically happened in your past, Naruto-kun? Suzuka wondered. The following day. Knock knock. After hearing a knock on his door, Naruto went to answer it and discovered a girl carrying a newspaper. This time, what is it? Naruto uttered those words. Well, Naru-kun, this time we're giving away 2 free tickets to Fantasyland if you subscribe to our newspaper, the child replied. Just hand the tickets to me. It's a waste of trees because, of all people, you know that I don't read newspapers, Naruto remarked. Ah, but Naru-kun, please subscribe. The girl's eyes were like puppy dog eyes. The girl sulked and huffed as Naruto said, That's not going to work on me. The girl handed the 2 tickets and said, Okay, here they are. After taking the tickets, Naruto went to his room and did his usual thing, falling asleep until someone knocked on the door once more. As I previously stated, I will not be purchasing a subscription to the morning newspaper. As he opened the door and saw a startled male, Naruto yelled. What are you doing here, male? Naruto inquired. Male stated, Well, I came here to ask for advice. I believe you have the wrong man. The advice council is Lan, Naruto declared. No, this is something you can only tell me, male replied. Then Naruto said, Okay. Well, I want to confess my feelings for Lan-kun and ask him out. However, I wanted to do it in a romantic setting. Furthermore, I don't want to do it on the roof. It's overly cliched, male remarked. Why must you search for the location when Lan should do it? Naruto inquired. With Naruto nodding, male remarked, Yeah, but knowing Lan, he would suggest his room. It's true that he has a room obsession. However, I don't have any. Naruto stopped himself because he recalled the tickets he had received. Naruto left male at the door and said, Wait here. I know the perfect place, he returned with a smile. This is yours. Fantasyland is 2 tickets away. Male's eyes widened as Naruto remarked, Perfect place to confess your feelings. How were those obtained? Male uttered those words. I got them from the girl who goes around asking for subscription materials. Male gave Naruto a hug as he said, And I didn't want to go because I had no one to go with, so here, take them. I'm grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful, Male shouted. Male blushed and let go when Naruto said, No problema, but please Alita go Anita Ira. Male hurried down the hall to her house, saying, Thanks Naruto-kun, I can always rely on you. Obviously, but you must be successful. Additionally, divert his attention so he won't think about tutoring me, Naruto shouted. All right. Naruto grinned and waved back as Male shouted back. Naruto was startled by a voice behind him and turned to see it was Suzuka saying, That was nice. Suzuka, you really frightened me. Naruto uttered those words. I apologize, but once more, it was kind of you to give her those, Suzuka grinned. Yeah, well, it was killing me that neither Lan or Male haven't confessed to each other, and it was getting irritating every time giving advice to Lan on how to impress her, Naruto replied. Oh, so you were alone when you traveled to Fantasyland? Suzuka inquired. Yes, and those tickets would have been a waste because I intended to spend the entire day tomorrow sleeping. Did you get them, by the way? Naruto inquired. Yes, but Yamato received them from me, Suzuka stated. It seems that Yuka blackmailed him into giving his tickets as payment. Suzuka gave Naruto a perplexed look when he said, you know, you and I make great cupids. What are you saying? Suzuka inquired. Well, I just hooked up Lan and Male together and you hooked Yamato and Hinoka together, Naruto replied. Is Yamato fond of Hinoka? Suzuka shouted in surprise. Naruto remarked, yep, and Hinoka likes Yamato. Suzuka leaned back against the wall and said, well then I guess now I don't regret giving it to him now. Naruto laughed, then saw this as an opportunity when he and Suzuka realized they would both be free tomorrow. Hey Suzuka, will you be doing anything tomorrow? Naruto inquired. No, why? Suzuka asked, perplexed. Well, I was wondering if you and I could go out again, Naruto replied. I assumed you would spend the entire day sleeping? Suzuka inquired. I was, but only because I assumed nobody would be present. However, I was wondering if we could hang out since you're free, Naruto remarked. All right, however, you must get up early or I will abandon you, Suzuka grinned. Yes, shouted Naruto in his mind the following morning. Suzuka and Naruto can be seen protecting themselves from the pouring rain by standing beneath a building. Why is it raining so much all the time? Naruto shouted. Suzuka remarked, sigh, it seems like we should head home. Suzuka nodded and followed Naruto, who said, no, let's go to the restaurant inside and wait until the rain goes down. The restaurant was a ramen shop with the words, Spiral Bowl, written on a board. Hi, G-san. Naruto shouted, Naruto-kun. Why are you in this place? The restaurant's former chef remarked. Naruto remarked, what else came to eat? However, the elderly man was unable to complete, saying, sorry Naruto Zero-kun, but I came here with my friend, and you wouldn't want her to go home hungry now, would you? Instead of pretending to be hurt or claiming that you ran out of supplies. Additionally, you wouldn't want two children to walk in the rain and develop a fever, Naruto said with a grin that split his face. The elderly man sighed after glancing at Suzuka. You're correct. The elderly man, who was crying and lowering his head at his loss because he was going to lose a year's worth of stock, said, I'll get started. My retirement plans are gone, the elderly man reflected. Pardon me, sweetheart, what do you want? The elderly man questioned Suzuka. Suzuka's old man nodded and proceeded to prepare the ramen, saying, I'll have the miso ramen medium, I guess. When the ramen finally arrived, Suzuka was appalled to see one medium bowl of ramen in front of her and roughly 15 in front of Naruto. Itadakimasu. The old man departed, leaving the two teenagers alone, and Naruto yelled as he broke off the chopsticks. Suzuka thought, Ayano-san wasn't kidding when she said that Naruto was a ramen addict. She began eating hers, and by the time she was done, Naruto had already consumed his 45th bowl. How do you fill that ramen so quickly? Naruto stopped slurping and turned to face Suzuka as she asked. Suzuka nodded as Naruto said, remember when I told you I was an orphan? Well, nobody really liked me where I was from, so they didn't really let me into their store. But one restaurant, a ramen restaurant, did. I've been eating there my entire life since they gave me free ramen. In actuality, I was their top client. I did pay for those ramens, in case you were wondering. On special occasions, such as my birthday or my graduation from elementary school, they would occasionally give me free ramen, Naruto remarked. All Suzuka could say was, oh, Suzuka thought, if that were my life, I guess eating ramen all the time would be normal, though I still can't believe he's not dead yet. The old man, who was crying when he heard the story, was unaware that he had heard it. Hey Asahina-chan, the rain has stopped. Do you want to take a quick stroll in the park before shopping at the mall? As he finished his bowl, Naruto inquired. Suzuka replied, sure. After leaving his seat, Naruto placed the cash and a small tip on the counter. See you, Gigi, next time. Think of a convincing lie. It won't work if attractive women kidnap you. When Naruto yelled, Suzuka's perspiration stopped. Suzuka thought to herself, who would even believe that? When they first arrived at the mall, Naruto and Suzuka were at the clothing store, where Suzuka was looking at some new designs that had recently been released. Naruto assisted Suzuka and commented on some of the clothes she had tried on, which shocked Suzuka because she didn't expect Naruto to know all these things and didn't expect Naruto to answer truthfully. On the other hand, Naruto was finding it normal because he had gone shopping while wearing his Oiroke. No, just you and Tenten had dragged him into a lingerie shop when they were at the hill next to the ice cream shop. Asahina-chan, wasn't today a good day? Gazing at the lowering sun, Naruto uttered those words. Suzuka replied, yeah, it was fun. Do you want to go out once more? Naruto inquired. Yes. That is, if we both have free time, Suzuka remarked. Naruto looked at his popsicle stick and said, I'm always free. Fuck it. Naruto shouted. Suzuka remarked, another lose. Yes. How can I be so unlucky, man? Said Naruto. Don't know, maybe it's because of your careless behavior, Suzuka replied. Naruto threw his stick in the trash next to him and remarked, oh, it's not that. Nay, Naruto. Why did you decline to join the team for track and field? Suzuka remarked, your speed could make you famous. Naruto gave her a look. I'm not very good at getting along with people, to start. Additionally, I detest it when I am the center of attention, Naruto added. I also don't want to be used in experiments. Suzuka said, it's a shame that you didn't join. Well, are there any boys on the track and field team that you might like? Suzuka was flushed when Naruto smirked and asked. And no. It's not that. That someone with your speed wouldn't join the track team would be a waste. I was just saying, Suzuka denied, her face flushed profusely. Ha 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 ha, whoa, you truly want me to be a part of the team? Naruto inquired. It's just to get Miyamoto-senpai to stop bothering me about Yamato, Lan, and you joining, primarily you, Suzuka remarked. Naruto uttered a disappointed, oh, Suzuka remarked, anyway this is beautiful. Naruto remarked, just like you. What? Suzuka blushed as she asked, obviously hearing what Naruto had said but unsure. Naruto remarked, nothing, just talking to myself again. Suzuka sighed and Naruto smiled, saying, you really are careless. The following morning, all right, let's get together. I'll introduce you to 3 new members before we start today's practice, a large boy with dark skin said. My name is Lan Hikari, it's good to meet you, Lan remarked. My name is Yamato Akatsuki, I'm glad to meet you, Yamato shouted. I believed you to have said 3. One of the participants stated, there are only 2. Hisa. Lan started, hey, I apologize for being late, I had to take the longer route because I encountered a black cat on the way. As he arrived, Naruto yelled, drawing perspiration from everyone in the room. Lan remarked to Naruto, Sai, you know you need to get better excuses right. What are you discussing? There was a black cat in my path, Naruto remarked. Hi there, don't be late the next time, the teenage gorilla said. Naruto grinned and said, can't make any promises. Anyway, what activities do you have planned? Said the teen gorilla. Naruto remarked idly, we're all doing 100 meters sprinting. Miyamoto remarked, I think that would be suited for them, Captain. Yes, I will try my hardest, Yamato shouted. Naruto and Lan simultaneously said, I'll do my best to slow down. All right, let's begin by dropping the goldfish separate for boys and girls. The captain stated, we'll begin with some light practice. There were 3 lines in motion. Nay, why are goldfish dropping? Is it simply forming a line? Even so, it moves quickly, Yamato remarked. How many laps must we complete? Naruto inquired, frustrated that he was unable to move more quickly. I wonder. That's all, Miyamoto said. What are you saying? As Kobayashi, who was behind Yamato, passed him and began sprinting to the front, Yamato inquired. Well, we need to sprint from the rear to the front, Yamato shouted. Miyamoto declared, you're next to Akatsuki-kun. All right, Yamato remarked while sprinting. Naruto remarked, that's just lame, you know. Well, you're the one that suggested let's join a club, Lan replied. Hey, you could have persuaded me to change my mind. Everyone chuckled at the antics of the 2 best friends as Naruto yelled. Following practice. That light practice was what the devil. And why does everyone appear so young? Yamato shouted. This is insignificant, Naruto remarked. I can't believe you forced me to join Lan. You were the one who expressed interest in joining, Lan shouted. Well, when I said that Male would be impressed if you did, you were the one who instantly agreed. Naruto responded with a shout. They were moving very slowly. Do you believe they used drugs while undergoing the physical examination? Lan and Naruto were able to hear some of the students whispering. Hey, who is using drugs? I wonder. What if Lan and I weren't moving quickly? Unlike that porcupine idiot over there, I don't like to brag. Naruto pointed at Kobayashi and yelled, frightening the students with his expression. Lan attempted to calm him down, and he succeeded. Calm down, if you kill them you're going to go to jail, Lan replied. Che. Naruto uttered those words. You must be serious about this, Suzuka shouted as she approached the group. Naruto, Yamato, and Lan exclaimed, Oh Asahina-chan. Suzuka remarked, because of you guys you slowed down everyone. Naruto looked off into the distance and remarked, like I said before, I don't like to show off. Besides, if I wanted to I could do the whole track in a few seconds, Naruto replied. Cease making jokes. Suzuka shouted. He's serious, Lan remarked, he really can do that. A girl with red hair said, really, then why don't you? As I mentioned, I dislike flaunting myself. Everyone except Lan gave Naruto a perplexed look when he said, I'm not that emo bastard. Who are you, by the way? Yamato inquired. Oh, I'm first year Hashiba. Miki. Suzuka told me a lot of things about you, Naruto-kun, Miki uttered. Oh, I hope we're good things. Naruto's flirtatious statement infuriated Suzuka, but she chose not to display it. Get into 4 lines. We'll run 5 50-meter intervals in 4 sets, someone said. It was now Naruto's and 3 others' turn, and everyone was still whispering behind his back. Lan made it last, and Yamato made it second for their part. Hey, quit. Suzuka saw the change in Naruto's voice and decided to speak to him later about talking behind his back. Naruto yelled demonically, frightening the group that was whispering. Get ready, go. The student who was timing was startled to see that the stopwatch had stopped at 1:12 seconds. Naruto increased his speed while running because he could still hear people whispering in an attempt to silence them. Everyone who had been whispering was startled, and they all ceased. Naruto was grinning malevolently. Hey, in your faces, dumbasses, Naruto thought. Amazing, Miki said, and Suzuka was too shocked to do more than nod. Suzuka thought, he broke his record from the physical exam. You mentioned that you detest flaunting yourself, right? Lan uttered those words. Che, those jerks would not stop talking. You are aware of my condition, Naruto hinted. Following that incident, nobody even spoke to Naruto. Yamato wanted to talk while running, but there was an uncomfortable atmosphere in the area after practice was over and everyone was heading out. Lan left with his new girlfriend, Yamato left with Yasunobu carrying him on his back, and Naruto stood there staring at Suzuka, who was still practicing. She is amazing. Doing her own practice, Miki remarked, hurling a towel at Naruto. It was Naruto who said, Hashiba-san. We attended different junior high schools. However, I frequently saw her at track competitions. She always has a chilly expression on her face and is a cool perfectionist. She never smiled, not even when she won. Doesn't it aggravate you? I detested her, Miki remarked. Really? Naruto uttered those words. Naruto remarked, it kind of reminds me of how I felt about Sasuke. But when we started attending the same high school, you know, I finally got her. She doesn't smile because her objectives are far more ambitious. She is not pleased with her accomplishments, even if she wins. Thus, I now respect Suzuka, Miki grinned. Naruto remarked, definitely different than me and Teme. I'll be accompanying Suzuka after her training so you can leave, Miki replied. With a hint of rage in his voice from recalling his past, Naruto said, yeah, I'll do that. Naruto thought, they're just like me. I was always competing with everyone, win or lose, ready to show off any minute. What took place with me? Gazing up at a bird soaring through the air, Naruto uttered those words aloud. What took place with me? With regret, Naruto said. At night as he lay in bed, Naruto contemplated the events of the day. Naruto thought, what happened to me? I used to be so excited and loved it when people mentioned my name or even talked about me, whether they were good things or bad, but now I can't even stand it when people talk about me behind my back. That just means you grew up and became an adult kid, Kyuubi replied. Naruto uttered the words, I thought I became an adult when I graduated from the academy. On paper, that is all mentally, you were never an adult. In addition, Kyuubi stated that, the way you are now is considered normal with everything that has happened to you. Naruto was startled out of his reverie by a knock, and he sighed, assuming it was Yamato requesting assistance once more. Naruto then got out of bed and opened the door. After saying, look Yamato, I'm not in the mood to help you with Yuka, Naruto became aware that the person at the door was not Yamato. What are you doing, Ka-san? Surprised, Naruto asked. Just came to visit and I saw that you were upset, Ayano replied. Ka-san, it's nothing. Naruto smiled artificially and said, you don't have to worry about me, Ayano sighed. Naruto-kun, I'm your mother. I can't do anything but worry. I'm more concerned about you than Miho. Tell me about your issue, please, Ayano said. Naruto said, sigh, okay, come inside. Ayano nodded, entered, and took a seat on his bed. I wanted to know what had happened to me. I was the attention-seeking idiot 2 years ago, but now I just get mad when someone makes fun of me behind my back, Naruto remarked. That is typical of Naruto. I mean, the people you believe to be your friends betrayed you and banished you from your home, Ayano remarked. Yes, but still, and I simply wanted to know what had happened to me. I was the attention-seeking idiot 2 years ago, but now I just get mad when someone makes fun of me behind my back, Naruto remarked. Ayano remarked, that's normal, Naruto. Yes, however, I am powerless to stop it. It seemed like yesterday when I recalled playing with Konoha 12 being irritated by Konohamaru and his group's ninja play at Ichiraku's, eating ramen, requesting better missions, and irritating Ba-chan about her age, but because of that bastard I used to call brother, all of that fell apart, Naruto angrily remarked. Naruto, life isn't always fair. I ought to be aware. I recall falling in love with Miho's father, but when my parents rejected him, everything fell apart. We ran away, and he passed away shortly after Miho was born. Life is simply unfair, Ayano remarked sorrowfully. Yeah, but still I understand that better than anyone from growing up in the streets, Naruto replied. Naruto was blushing when Ayano tried to lighten the mood by saying, all right then, if you understand, can you explain to me about your crush on Suzuka-chan? Nothing. I just feel compelled to tell Asahina-chan everything for some reason because I fear she would scream and flee. I am unable to tell her about my life and true self, Naruto said. I have to watch what I say every time I'm with her. Ayano stood up and gave him a hug. Ayano remarked, that just means you love her, Sochi. Love, huh? Naruto let out a sigh. What's not right? Ayano inquired. It would be detrimental to us both if I fell in love with Asahina-chan. I am a demon, and she would never love me. Naruto smiled sadly as he said, and demons don't love. Ayano had just slapped him, and as he finished, he felt a sharp pain on his cheeks. Never believe that you are a demon. No one is more demon-like than those Konoha villagers. You are not Kyuubi, rather, you are the prison in which Kyuubi is imprisoned. Ayano sobbed and said, Suzuka-chan will love you once she understands everything and the burden you carry. Naruto wiped away the tears, hugged her, and apologized repeatedly. Little did either of them know that Suzuka was listening to the entire conversation, standing next to the broken wall, her eyes wide with surprise and shock. She had recently learned about some aspects of Naruto's past and discovered that he loved her, as well as Ayano's past, and she was unsure of what to do at the moment. After a week, Naruto noticed that Suzuka was avoiding him at first. He thought this was odd, but after learning that there was a track and field competition and that they were working extremely hard, he simply assumed that Suzuka needed to focus regarding the competition. Naruto, Lan, and Yamato were chosen to represent the school. However, Yamato had to put in a lot of effort, whereas Lan and Naruto did not. Naruto planned to train tomorrow since the track and field team had the day off and there were no classes. The following day, after an hour, Yamato followed Suzuka, who had left to go to Yokohama naturally. Naruto was unaware of this since he had gotten up early and attended the meeting. Instead, he went to his training ground. All right, Kyuubi, I'll begin as usual then, Naruto said. Practice my Kekkei Genkai. Any kid, after Kyuubi said, just don't exhaust yourself. Naruto vanished from view for 3 days in a row. After 3 days alongside the track and field squad. None of the practices have been attended by Fujikawa-kun. Are you familiar with Suzuka-chan? Miyamoto said. Senpai, no, Suzuka remarked. I haven't seen him since the day off. Yamato angrily thought to Suzuka. Well, it's a good thing he's not here. You're just using him as a replacement for Suda. Hikari-kun. How about you? Miyamoto inquired. I haven't seen him, but I may have a good idea where he is, Lan replied. Then give him a call. I shouted the captain. No way, Lan remarked. I don't want to die just yet. What are you saying? Mickey inquired. Well, if my guess is correct, then it's dangerous to be around him at the moment, Lan replied. Miyamoto stopped the captain from killing Lan by saying, all right. At night, after joining the track and field club, Naruto was able to get back in shape after his training ended, even though he was unable to practice with his Kekkei Genkai. I think I may have forgotten something, like something significant is about to occur, Naruto thought to himself. Hey kid, do you not have that track competition tomorrow? Additionally, you're already worn out, Kyuubi remarked. Yeah. Oh no, Naruto heard only a lazy blonde, but he decided to use your chakra to win if the worst happened. Somewhere. How long must we watch him, Itachi? Kisame inquired. Not for very long. I'll initiate contact to gauge his level of threat, Itachi stated without showing emotion. Gosh. Why do you get to enjoy yourself first? Kisame inquired. Itachi said, because I'm a Uchiha, and turned to leave. Kaseyame muttered, tch damn Uchihas and their stupid superior sides. Alongside Naruto after being escorted home, Naruto heard Yamato and Suzuka arguing about something as he ascended the stairs. Asahina-san, I think you should stop looking for Naruto-san, Yamato responded. Why? Suzuka said angrily, I just need to ask him why he hasn't shown up for practice. Yamato responded, why, so that you can keep using him? What are you discussing? Suzuka inquired. All you're doing is substituting Naruto-san for Suda Kazuki, Yamato shouted. What? How are you? Suzuka started, and Naruto's eyes widened. Before Naruto could finish thinking, he heard Suzuka slap Yamato and then a door close. She was using me. And who the hell is Suda Kazuki? He asked himself. Yuka said, come on Megumi, let's go. Yuka told Yamato, you're a real idiot, you know that. As Naruto ascended the stairs, he heard another door slam. What on earth just took place? Naruto inquired. According to Kyuubi, no clue kit, since he would need it for the following day, Naruto simply shrugged his shoulders and retired to his room to rest. Sunday as the following day, exhaustion caused Naruto to wake up late, and when he went to the kitchen, he looked surprised at his younger sister. You're here, Nini, you were where? Miho shouted. Miho became enraged when Naruto lied and claimed, I was out camping. Camping? You ought to have been getting ready for the competition, Miho shouted. It's not as if it matters, Naruto declared, I'm going to win. Naruto-kun, you're not going to be able to win it if you miss it, Ayano replied. What are you saying? Naruto inquired. According to Ayano, the tournament starts in a half hour. Oh, before jumping from roof to roof and getting his track gear, Naruto remarked, I suppose I'll eat something on the way. During the competition, people avoided Suzuka and Yamato because of the tension that had existed between them the day before. Hey, what's wrong with you? Said Yasunobu. Nothing, Yamato replied before noticing that a student was surrounded by numerous news reporters. Who is he? Yamato didn't specifically ask anyone. Arima Emerson is that person, Japan's #1 right now, Miyamoto declared. Yamato remarked, he doesn't look like anyone special. Miki remarked, that's because it's you, Yamato. What is the intended meaning of that? Yamato shouted. Avoid undervaluing him, Miki remarked, he's a lot faster than anyone here, but then she heard Lan cough. Your time is 1080 seconds, he's made it to 1030 seconds, Miki replied. He's not quick, he is completely unlike Suda-senpai, he would be standing there in place of him if he were present, and Suda-senpai is far superior to someone like him. Miyamoto was in a panic, and Suzuka spoke. Suzuka, please lower your voice, you are audible to him, Miyamoto said. Suzuka said, good, as she walked away, but she didn't see Arima's scowl. Alongside Naruto, when Naruto finally arrived at the track where the tournament was being held, he was jumping from roof to roof and was ready to head straight to the changing rooms when he heard a shout. Alongside Suzuka, for some reason, Suzuka's thoughts were focused on Naruto and what she had heard the other day, even though she wanted to think about Suda. Naruto was mysterious to her. Suzuka thought, even though he acts like a child, he seems more reliable than anyone else at times. All you're doing is substituting Naruto-san for Suda Kazuki. She could still hear what Yamato had said. Suzuka thought, am I really just using Naruto-kun as a replacement for Suda? But was startled out of her reverie. Leaning against a tree, Arima said, yo, it's been a long time. Suzuka got to her feet, startled that he had arrived. What do you want? Suzuka shouted. Oh, that's frightening, you never change, do you? Arima uttered those words. I have no idea who you are. Suzuka shouted, am I mistaken? You were always hanging around Suda at the prefectural tournament? You two had a very close relationship, he might be someone you like. Smirking, Arima said. When Suzuka said, if you have nothing else to say, then leave. I have something to say. Of course, you previously claimed that I was beneath Suda. I was a little offended by that, Arima remarked. It was Suzuka who said, sorry, please pretend you didn't hear it. Arima screamed, you think I'll accept that kind of apology? What a persistent man, Suzuka remarked, you're just upset that I was correct. What were you saying? Arima pushed Suzuka against the tree behind her and yelled, I'm still #1 whether Suda is dead or alive. Kaya. Suzuka let out a scream, hey, what's going on over there? A brawl? Someone inquired. Another said, Arima is fighting with a girl. You would be? Suzuka started, if Suda-senpai was alive. Is that your motto of some sort? In the event that Suda-senpai was still alive, let me explain, your favorite Suda-senpai is dead. Arima's statement caused Suzuka to widen her eyes. And you have the audacity to claim that I am less valuable than a corpse. You must be insane, Arima remarked. Hey, did you hear that? She said that Arima was lower level, remarked one of the pupils. Who does she believe herself to be? Another shout was heard, and people began to assemble around Arima and Suzuka. Hey, I'm sorry, Arima, among the pupils, one said. Yes, bitch, another said. Hey, apologize to everybody, Arima said, and then we'll forgive you. Suzuka began to cry. Hey, stop crying and give Arima an apology. Everyone in the room was shocked to see Naruto standing in front of Suzuka. One of the students said as he held her shirt, but as soon as he did, his arm went numb. Naruto-kun. Suzuka exclaimed joyfully. You are aware that it is wrong to make a lovely girl cry? When Naruto said that, Suzuka became very irate. Who are you? Arima inquired. You don't have to be aware, however. I'm curious as to what Asahina-chan does to enrage you all, Naruto inquired. She referred to Arima as lower level when he's at the top, among the pupils, one said. Another shouted, yeah, all she needs to do is apologize. Suzuka was in a panic, and Naruto closed his eyes and said, I see. Suzuka worriedly asked, is he going to abandon me? Naruto opened his eyes, which had changed from sky blue to bloody red with a black slit in the middle. Suzuka was afraid but also a little excited for no apparent reason. Naruto appeared angry and prepared to kill anyone. She was correct when she said that you are lower level, you're as low as garbage. You are a scum. Suzuka was taken aback because she had never seen Naruto become enraged or yell. What were you saying? Everyone was on the ground, struggling to breathe, when Arima yelled and grabbed Naruto. However, Naruto simply sent ki at everyone but Suzuka. You are a piece of shit who believes that you are a god or something. A jerk like you is a waste of space in this world. Let me tell you of that. It's way too early for you to believe that you're the best. I promise to make sure you wish you never existed if you ever cause Asahina any more pain or even bring her to tears. Scram now. When they all left, Naruto calmed down and turned to Suzuka. Feeling the anger drain from him, everyone fled, with the exception of Arima, who was glaring at the Jinchuriki and returned to the track. Asahina-chan, are you alright? Suzuka nodded in response to Naruto's question, too stunned to respond, but she was a little let down when she saw that his eyes had returned to their usual hues. Well, you shouldn't have to put up with those jerks any longer, and I'll castrate them with a dull knife if they do tell me, Naruto declared. With a wera, Suzuka started. Well? Naruto was perplexed. Where have you spent the last 3 days? Suzuka inquired. Oh, I was training. Naruto grinned. Suzuka wanted to talk to him more because she hadn't spoken to him for a week and 3 days. She also wanted to discuss the conversation she overheard a week prior and how he had changed the color of his eyes, but Naruto ruined it. Asahina-chan, let's go, we don't want to be late, do we? Naruto grinned as he spoke. Suzuka nodded and trailed behind Naruto, blushing as she looked at him. Suzuka questioned, am I falling in love with him? Afterwards, ow. Naruto shouted, you're a jerk. Where on earth were you? Kinagasa shouted. Damn it, I was training. Sheesh, I promise that if I continue on the track team, I will lose my mind, Naruto remarked, first with that emo bastard, and now with Gorilla Boy here. Emo jerk? Everyone inquired. Naruto said a little loudly, only to receive a glare from Arima. Yeah, that bastard with 50-meter pole up his ass. Do you know who Fujikawa-kun is? Panicked, Miyamoto asked. No, and I'd prefer not to. Asahina-chan cried, because of that bastard I'm going to kick his ass after this LAN. Don't you think he'll be good for target practice? Naruto uttered those words. Naruto, you are aware that you will be imprisoned if you continue at this rate? LAN inquired. Naruto said, who cares? You will be competing against him in the 100-meter sprint. Fujikawa-kun in Japan right now. He is the number 1, Miyamoto said. Naruto smiled and remarked, oh, whatever, that's going to change today. Naruto asked his companion, hey Kyuubi, do you want to crush an emo's ego? Kyuubi remarked, it hurts that you even have to ask. Miyamoto said, Fujikawa-kun, please get ready. Naruto nodded. Number 36, Naruto Fujikawa. The referee called. This way, Naruto shouted. You don't have a number because you weren't present for the initial call. Make sure you don't arrive late once more, the referee added, and you're in the first heat. Naruto grabbed his number and said, can't make that promise. I've already versed you. Arima removed his jacket and said, When you lose, I want you to go on your knees and beg for forgiveness. His fangirls and boys cheered. Oh, I had no idea that the top person in Japan was interested in that. I'm sorry, but I must say no, I like girls. As you can see, I'm not into that, either, and even if I were, don't you think I would be the S? Naruto said, infuriating Arima, making everyone at Naruto's school laugh, and making all the girls blush at the remark some boys and fangirls were thinking, boy x boy. Haha. That's very funny. Yasunobu shouted. Mickey said, that was pretty funny. Suzuka was even laughing at that. Miyamoto was laughing despite his best efforts. Kinagasa was laughing, and the referee was laughing as well, but stopped when Arima gave him a stern look. The referee laughed in between sentences as he said, oh okay ha, everyone participating ha, get in position ha. They followed instructions, and Naruto put the plates in rocket start. Arima thought, rocket start? He's copying a dead guy. Naruto grinned and bided his time until the gun went off. All set. Go. The ref pulled the trigger and the runners sprinted. Naruto ran, leaving everyone behind. Everyone that didn't see him run before were shocked. Naruto was smirking. He looked at the finish line and then at the ref at beside it. When he made eye contact with the ref, he noticed he had red eyes and soon blacked out when he heard the word Tsukuyomi. Later on in the day, when Naruto awoke, he discovered that he was in the hospital. Naruto questioned, what the hell happened? Kyuubi responded, Kitty's here. Who is? Inquired Naruto. Akatsuki. Naruto was sitting there thinking of a plan when he realized that someone from Akatsuki, who had a Sharingan, had come and used one of the strongest genjutsu on him. He was furious. He was also considering whether he would win or lose the sprint, and he was so preoccupied with his thoughts that he failed to notice the nurse enter. Aside from Uchiha Madara, Sasuke's brother Itachi is the only other Uchiha left, and based on what Tsunade said that day, only he is able to use Tsukuyomi, Naruto reflected. You are fortunate, aren't you? The nurse's words forced Naruto to stop thinking. What are you saying? Naruto inquired. All right, for winning the competition. However, the nurse noted that few people pass out when they cross the finish line. Of course I know that. That bastard Itachi, I'll kill him. Wait, I won? Naruto shouted to himself. Wait, did I win? The nurse nodded when Naruto asked. You would have lost if you hadn't passed out after crossing the finish line. Congratulations, Japan's #1. The nurse congratulated Naruto, who seemed pleased for some reason. Naruto thought, obviously, after all those shit talks, it would be lame if I lost. Despite the fact that you finished the 100-meter race in 198 seconds, you were on the verge of being disqualified. It was assumed that you were using steroids or something. However, you're safe after completing a few tests, the nurse said. I'm damn straight. And what a drug-using idiot, Naruto shouted. Many individuals. The nurse opened the door to let Ayano in and said, your mother is outside, too. I'll let her in. Sochi, said Ayano. What are you doing here, Ka-san? Naruto inquired. What are your thoughts? Receiving a call stating that you passed out while out for a run during your camping trip. You were training too hard, weren't you? Ayano shouted. Oh, that's not the case. I was subjected to a genjutsu, Naruto remarked. I thought you said genjutsu doesn't work on you, Ayano replied. Well, this one is unique and only a few are capable of doing it, Naruto remarked. Does that imply that you were discovered by your village? Ayano inquired. It wasn't the Konoha. Akatsuki was the one. Tokyo will soon turn into a war zone, Naruto remarked, his expression irate. How much time did I spend inside? Naruto inquired. Roughly 3 hours. Everyone is concerned, including Lan-kun. Ayano remarked. Even Suzuka-chan. Naruto was flushed. Naruto remarked, I shouldn't have told you I like Asahina-chan. I would have learned in any case. Naruto's face was flushed. It was so obvious the way you look at her and always drop everything just to hang out with her, Ayano remarked. Naruto changed the topic and said, when can I leave? You are free to leave at any time. Ayano handed him a bag and said, I bought some of your clothes here. When Naruto finished, he went to the hallway and began walking to the receptionist to check out. After everything was finished, they left the building, with Ayano heading toward her apartment and Naruto heading in the opposite direction. Thanks, Ka-san, Naruto said, grabbing the bag. Ayano left so Naruto could change. Where are you going, Naruto? Ayano inquired before vanishing in a smokeless shunshin. Naruto declared, I'm going to look for Itachi and make him pay for humiliating me. Naruto. Ayano shouted in concern. Naruto began to emit chakra waves while leaping from roof to roof. Naruto thought, that bastard is going to pay, as his eyes grew similar to those of the Kyuubi. Kid, go to the park, I'm feeling a large amount of chakra there, Kyuubi responded. All right, Naruto said, changing his course, and when he eventually reached the park, he saw Itachi standing there with his straw hat and cloak over his face. Naruto's voice changed as he said, "Hello Uchiha." Alongside Ayano hurried home in the hopes that Lan would still be there, and she was relieved that he had not left. As she walked in, everyone was staring at her. What's the matter, Ayano-san? And Naruto-kun, where are you? Ayano turned away from the question and turned to face Lan, but Suzuka asked as she searched for him. Lan-kun, go help Naruto-kun, he's about to do something stupid, Ayano replied. What are you saying? Lan inquired as his attitude shifted, frightening everyone. You recall the moment Naruto passed out, Ayano said. It turns out it was a genjutsu, not caring that anyone was listening, because she was more concerned about Naruto. How? Jinchurikis are not susceptible to genjutsu, Lan remarked. I said that, but he claimed it was a unique form of genjutsu and he pursued the person who had placed it on him, Ayano remarked. Who was it? Lan inquired. Ayano said, Akatsuki. Lan showed no emotion. Alright, I'll be going then, I'll go get him, Lan replied. A tiny earthquake occurred. Please don't wait for us, Ayano-san. As he walked away, Lan remarked, and we might be late. Alongside Naruto yelled, damn bastard won't go down, what the hell? Upon witnessing Itachi regain control of his triple Rasengan. Is that all? I had much higher expectations, Itachi remarked impassively. Bastard! Screamed Naruto. Kid, you may not like it, but you're going to have to use the Kekkei Genkai I gave you, Kyuubi replied. Naruto remarked, I can't. I haven't mastered it completely, and the side effects are too much. Those won't matter at this rate. He has never used the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan. You must complete this now before he does, or else we will both perish, Kyuubi uttered. Naruto thought, damn, I wanted to at least minimize the side effects before using it. Itachi asked, what's wrong? Why aren't you attacking Kyuubi? Expecting him to become enraged, but was taken aback when he didn't. Don't assume that I've changed from the loud-mouthed fool I was in the past. I've evolved. Furthermore, that won't work. I am friends with Kyuubi. I vowed to kill all of you Uchiha bastards, including Uchiha Madara. Kyuubi. Stretching his right hand to the side, Naruto said. What are you discussing? Itachi declared, Uchiha Madara is dead. Please, I am aware that he is still alive, Naruto remarked. After all, he was the one who tore Kyuubi from my mother's seal that evening. How does he know that? Itachi thought. Looks like I really need to finish this. And how do you think you're going to accomplish that? When it comes to the Sharingan, particularly the Mangekyo, Jinchurikis are helpless, Itachi asked. How do you think your chances of defeating the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan are? 5 black spheres appeared in front of Naruto, who raised his palms upward and pointed his right palm in the direction of the Itachi, saying, hey, with this. Naruto said, Lance, as 5 black needles emerged from the black spheres in Itachi's direction. Itachi attempted to mimic the movement but was unable, so his only choice was to dodge, which caused the needles to strike the tree behind him. Itachi then noticed holes in the tree, as if the needles had broken the tree where they had struck. What's that? Why was I unable to replicate it? Itachi inquired. Naruto grinned insanely and said, hey, that's my new Kekkei Genkai. The Kyuubi gave it to me to fight against Uchiha Madara and others that have those accursed eyes. Itachi wondered, a Kekkei Genkai? Why would Kyuubi give him one instead of trying to break free? Itachi said, I see. However, he fell silent when he sensed no chakra emanating from Naruto. A lot of chakra is used in that technique, Kyuubi. This is my victory, Itachi declared. Itachi was about to ask why when he felt 5 needles pierce his left eye, his hands, and both of his legs. Naruto said, if you think like that then it will be your loss. When he looked, he saw the same black spheres that Naruto had used before. HOW? Itachi started. I didn't see you. My method targets anything that has a lot of power or chakra. They resemble homing weapons. I concealed my chakra for that reason so they wouldn't pursue me, Naruto said with a smile. Itachi was about to say, you mons, when a big black sphere materialized next to Naruto. When the black sphere approached Itachi, he said, this is it. Itachi dodged the sphere, but lost his lower body in the process, leaving his upper body still on the ground. Naruto remembered the sphere, and when he did, he was on the ground with both hands on his head, screaming in agony. At that moment, Lan appeared. Naruto said, arg damn it, I hate it when it gives me a big headache. Naruto. Lan shouted, hey Lan. Naruto pointed to Itachi's body or what was left of Ida, and Lan was startled. If you're looking for action, then you're a little late. So, What's your justification? Save a child from being struck by a bus or assist an elderly woman crossing the street? Naruto remarked. Are you certain that Itachi was the person you were fighting, Naruto? Lan inquired. What are you saying? Naruto uttered those words. Lan said, look behind you. Naruto did so, but instead of Itachi, he saw someone else. Shocked, Naruto said, wait, isn't he that homeless guy from Thea? He had just killed an innocent bystander. But how? I thought I had defeated Itachi. He even said things that only Itachi understood, Naruto shouted. I believe it was jutsu, kid. However, Kyuubi remarked, I've never seen one like this before. I suppose Itachi made his own because he was regarded as a prodigy. Oh no, in this manner, he can substitute anyone, Naruto retorted angrily. I don't think so. The Uchiha are overconfident. This is how he says, hi, it will be different the next time, Kyuubi remarked. Yes. Oh Lan, are you able to carry me? Naruto inquired. Why? Lan asked, but Naruto's subsequent fainting provided the answer. Somewhere else, Itachi declared, I ran out chakra. The same is true here after 2 years. Who would have thought the Gaki would become so powerful? Kisame remarked, your village were fools for wasting something like that? Itachi replied, yes, I know. Itachi considered the possibility that the Kekkei Genkai was the only thing capable of killing him. After 2 weeks, as Naruto walks home from the hospital, his mother is seen reprimanding him. How could you have been so irresponsible? Are you aware of my level of anxiety? Naruto appeared bored and continued to ignore Ayano's yelling before experiencing pain in his left ear. Pay attention to your mom. Kyuubi was roaring with laughter at his container's demise, while Naruto rubbed his ears and glanced at his watch as Ayano yelled. In an attempt to escape his furious mother, Naruto said, I'll be going to school now. Mister, this isn't finished yet. You'll receive your punishment when you get home, Ayano shouted. Naruto only said, troublesome. At school, Suzuka and Lan were concerned about Naruto, while Yamato was thinking about his romantic life. He hadn't woken up for 2 weeks, and Lan knew why. The bloodline caused a significant strain in his brain, which he tried to reduce but which only made the pain worse every time he used it. Kyuubi had informed Naruto that he needed to fully master it in order to stop the pain. Not paying attention to the teacher, Lan thought, Malchi's door is one of the most powerful Kekkei Genkai ever. It's a black hole with only one door and no exit, so whatever goes in can't come out. Also, whenever someone touches whatever body part it was, it goes to another dimension. It also follows chakra like a homing missile, and Naruto has to cloak his chakra to avoid getting hit. What happened to Naruto-kun? And what's a genjutsu? Ayano-san and Lan-san aren't responding, but more importantly, why am I so worried about him? Do I have feelings for him? I mean, sure, he looks cute with those whiskers on his cheeks and he does make me feel safe and he's interesting and he does have feelings for me. Maybe we could know. I can't not after what happened with Suda-senpai. Still, it is enjoyable to be around him. Suzuka ignored the teacher. Hinoka-chan is cute, so I should ask her out, Yamato thought, not listening. I was about to confess when we went to Fantasyland, but I chickened out. The teacher caught them and asked, Asahina-san, Hikari-san, and Akatsuki-san, could you please answer the following 3 questions on the board? Yamato, Lan, and Suzuka were in a panic. They were unaware of what was happening because they hadn't been paying attention. However, Naruto entered the room as though Kami had responded to their anguish. The teacher said, Fujikawa-san, where have you been for the past 2 weeks? According to Naruto, I was in a coma, the teacher said, so you're becoming a delinquent now. As he made his way to his desk, Naruto remarked, whatever. Suzuka was glad he had arrived. She was unable to focus on anything because she was so anxious because Naruto was acting so carelessly. Lan wanted to beat him and Yasunobu and most of the others were afraid that the pranking would begin. Lunchtime, Yamato inquired, Naruto-san, when did you wake up? Naruto said, drawing perspiration from everyone, last night had a nightmare. Someone was eating all my ramen and I just woke up. Naruto questioned, what happened while I was asleep? Oh, nothing much. We went to the water park. Asahina-san came as well. Oh, and the school was interviewed because of your win in the tournament, Yamato replied. Naruto complained, wanting to see Suzuka in her bikini. You guys went to the water park without me, damn it. A single piece or 2 pieces? Naruto pondered. Hinoka sadly said, sorry, we didn't know when you'd wake up. Don't worry, I was just joking. I really didn't want to go to the water park, Naruto replied. I didn't want to explain the seal on my stomach, for the most part, Naruto thought, and the 2 scars I have on my chest. Surprising everyone, Suzuka said, next time all of us can go. Naruto was the first to recover from his shock. I'd like that, but like I said before, I'd rather not go, Naruto replied. Mickey questioned, why? Can't swim. Lan understood Naruto when he said, it's not that, rather there's some things I don't want people to see. I'm going to fucking kill that Uchiha bastard when I see duck-haired Uke. Lan considered murdering Sasuke for causing harm to his best friend. Somewhere in the distance, achoo, sneezed Sasuke. Sakura Banshee let out a cry. You have a cold, Sasuke-kun. Here, let me heal you. Ino shouted, no way, forehead, I'll heal Sasuke-kun. I don't have a cold. Someone must be talking about me. He probably wants to be like me, Sasuke laughed. The Leaf Ninjas thought, I wish I could kill him. Returning to Japan. So anything new from track other than the interviews? Replied Naruto. Oh yes. We are going to a training camp for 1 week, it starts tomorrow, Suzuka replied. Naruto questioned, why a training camp? Believing that since they already had everything at school, there was no need to travel elsewhere. It's more of a break than a training trip, we always have one after a tournament, it's just to celebrate to those that won and a way to cheer up those that lost, Suzuka stated. Well, if I don't have to go to school for 1 week then I'm fine with it, Naruto replied. Suzuka was pleased to see him. Mickey grinned as she glanced at Suzuka. Yasunobu remarked, I wonder if I can come as well. Mickey angrily remarked, it's only for those that are in track. Naruto glanced between them. Naruto questioned, am I missing something? Oh yeah, Mickey and Yasunobu have been fighting ever since you went into a coma, Yamato replied. At that moment, the bell rang, and students began to pour into the room. The following day, surrounded by reporters, Naruto screamed, "Aw, sweet sweet vacation is what I would love to say, but what the hell is with all the cameras?" One of the reporters exclaimed, "Fujikawa-san, how were you able to run so fast?" Another person inquired, "What kind of training do you do?" With ki, Naruto yelled, "Get lost. I'm trying to enjoy a vacation," frightening all of the reporters and making them urinate in their pants. When Naruto saw Arima, he exclaimed, "Finally some peace and, oh my god, we have M here." Arima snarled. The whole Naruto track team was giggling. Naruto was slowly glancing in all directions while everyone else was conversing. "I am unable to unwind. All of the Akatsuki members are aware of my location if Itachi is." Naruto thought. Fuck, I was just enjoying my life and now everything is ruined. As much I was enjoying our vacation, I think it was good that Uchiha found us more action for us, Kyuubi responded. You are aware that they will attempt to extract you from my stomach and utilize your strength for whatever deranged motive they may have in their tiny minds, don't you? Furthermore, Madara himself might visit and take control of you once more, Naruto remarked. Fuck, yelled Kyuubi. Suzuka said, "Naruto-kun, let's go." Naruto was startled out of his reverie when he saw every member enter an inn. Naruto picked up his bags and said, "Right." Then he saw that Suzuka was approaching him more closely than normal. This is really strange. Asahina-chan appears to be closer than before. She used to walk a distance, but not anymore. What transpired during my coma? Naruto pondered. Maybe she finally decided to give herself up to you? Kyuubi asked.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.